Hey guys, it's your boys surviving yet another day of RPM Fest. We're going to do a quick recap of Saturday. What an adventurous day.
It was like a huge day, to be fair. And right now we are talking to you. We are under a tent.
Yeah, we got upgraded. We were in sort of near the vendor's alley against the wrestling tent and ended up being that another vendor had left. So shout out Hope, who's from Leather Pixie. She is looking over all of the vendors. That is her department here at RPM. So she was kind enough to let us get under the tent because yesterday we had some spot showers and things like that. Towards the end, I think right on Prong's set, there was a lot of rain. So it worked out. It was very, very helpful, and we appreciate it. I know Phil was nervous. Phil's nervous about his equipment.
Yeah, I was nervous because we were outside a wrestling tent, so no tent over us. So the problem was my equipment. What do I do with it? We didn't have a tarp, we didn't have anything to protect it. So I was like, we are fucked. And then I just slapped my face. I just slapped my face. I was like, no, buddy, everything is fine. And calm down.
We talked to some pretty cool people yesterday. We got one band. It was a pretty busy day for the bands, so that's not surprising.
Yeah.
Maidenhead opened up the festivities yesterday, and we got to talk to them. Very cool bands, great people. Still new to the touring world, still new to being a band, honestly, even though it says that they started in 2013, but they do have an album in the works coming out, so keep your eyes and ears out for that. Check out their Bandcamp. We also talked to a ton of vendors, lots of vendors yesterday. Our neighbors, being now in the Artist Alley, we were able to talk to Arsinia, Trav, we talked to Brett. Who was really cool because he also did a dice game during the day in the morning where he basically made a short, quick hitter D&D campaign, which I thought was fucking dope as shit. So shout out to all of those guys. Arsenia's making clothes, crocheting clothes, super sexualized for anybody that's looking for a new top, some shorts.
I will even have my own. No, not a top. It's something for my little Diablo over there, Bloody the Bat. She's going to make one for me, and I'm pretty stoked to have it.
We talked to our boy Drew from Four Phantoms. Yeah. Always a pleasure. Love Drew.
I love
has
him
always
too.
Been really good to us, and obviously he's the big sponsor here at RPM Fest. So it was really cool to see him.
Yep.
And Rockland Music, we were able to talk to Rob, the guy that Phil bought the guitar from.
Exactly.
It's super passionate guy. You gotta love the energy and the love that he has for just guitars in general, musicians. I love the idea that he has of instead of selling guitars, he rehomes guitars.
Yeah,
that's just it's a beautiful thing, and honestly, you don't get a lot of it. Because, everyone wants to make a profit, and inflation, just like anything else, prices skyrocket. It's harder for musicians to get equipment, and not only that, reliable equipment. So he's really cool, and what he does for the community is amazing. He's here basically every year now. So if you're ever in the market for a guitar, amp, or even just any cool woodworking, go check him out, man.
Yep, exactly. He's a great guy, and honestly, when he sold me that guitar, I entered America without knowing I was going to get out of America with a guitar, and now I am.
Hopefully you can bring it over.
I can.
They're going to be like, that's a bomb.
I did some search about the border thing, and fun fact, I can have, if I am America over than 48 hours, I can bring back under $800 of goods. And that means also beer is inside it. Yeah. So beer is the alcohol you can bring back. The rest of it, spirits and all, you have to pay taxes, and the taxes are over 100%. When I say taxes over 100%, it's you take the price of the bottle, and you pay over than the price of bottle just for taxes, it sucks. It fucking sucks. Anyway, so yeah, so I'll be able to bring the guitar, but I need to not buy anything else. It will be complicated.
You know, so far I haven't bought any merch, but I have spent all my money on food. Really, really good fucking food. Shout out to Patch Burger. Shout out to the our friends under the pavilion. I did not get the name of their little operation. Hopefully we talk to them today, Sunday. Yep. They're really cool. They got this Patch Burger, or this not the Patch Burger. That's it. The Smork.
Yeah,
burger.
The Smork is
I think I've had the thing like 4 times.
Yeah, yeah, like the Smork.
It's absolutely ruining me because it's spicy.
The pulled pork, Smork, and Mork are pretty good, but I think the one I love is the Cause of Death burger. The Cause of Death burger is like it's same thing than the Smork and the Mork, but instead of pulled pork, it's a hamburger with mac and cheese in it, and I put some pickled in it too. It's so good. Fucking love it.
But, you know, I think one of my favorite guests yesterday was our first walk-up. So somebody who's not related to vendors, someone who's not related to the bands. We had Ben of Broken Lords, the author.
Yeah.
Broken Lords being the podcast. He was a really cool, interesting guest. He has a very interesting concept for how he writes his horror novels. Highly suggest you check them out. He is just a very interesting guy. Broken Lords is a podcast where him and some buddies all just play like the old school tabletop games, stuff that's not really super relevant. Maybe something that's not D&D, but some other styles. So definitely check him out. Very cool guy. Yeah. We talked to him a couple times.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah,
honestly, great guy. We talk about, like you said, tabletop, Warhammer also.
Yeah, he's got a salamander's tattoo.
Yeah,
Vulcan is his Primarch. Good for him.
Yeah,
I didn't have the heart to tell him that I'm a Death Guard guy, but
to be fair, I don't like. I love orcs.
Yeah, no, but it was cool. It was cool. So, you know, looking forward to wrapping it up today, talking to anyone that's willing. We're going to try to talk to a lot of volunteers, talk to Brian, talk to Chris Smalls, the media guy over here. Hopefully we can get Hope on here of Leather Pixie and also big volunteer. So very much looking forward to it. It's a tighter schedule today, so it's the times are a little tighter, not as many bands, maybe more prevalent to what was going on Friday, so just doesn't go into the night as much. They kind of cap things off over here at like 8:30, let everybody kind of do like a final hoorah, I would imagine, and then basically off to greener pastures. But I don't know if we're leaving tonight. I haven't decided yet.
No,
there's a part of me that wants to, because I would love to just get home. But if it's going to be too much of a hassle, then we won't. But we're just going to play it by ear.
So let's record it. Evan, you do whatever you want because you are the driver. You are the guy that brought the fucking the pop-up tent. So honestly, I follow you.
If I'm hammered, I can't drive. So we'll see how the day goes.
Don't get too much hammered then. Honestly, we'll check it out. Like, I have all day tomorrow on Monday, so I just need to come back in Canada safe and sound.
I got a tattoo appointment, so I got to shower at least before I go. That was what my artist told me. Very strict rules. Shower. That's what I got to do. So
that's strict.
Well, guys, we appreciate it as always. Looking forward to another final day here at RPM Fest. And if you missed it this year, you know, there's always next year and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that.
Yep.
You guys should definitely come by, check this out. When they comes time, you'll see on the social medias, they love to get opinions on bands and who they should try to book, who they should reach out to, etc. So I always recommend, and whenever you see that post from RPM, throw your favorite bands in there. Throw your own band in there. You know?
Yeah.
It's not too expensive. It's a great time. You got low overhead. You know, anything can happen, guys.
And also, if there's Canadian listening to us right now, do it. Do it. Come in America. Come, just discover this beautiful fest that is RPM Fest. And we need more. I don't want to be the only Canadian here, guys. Please.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to get back to the interviews, and we will see you on the other side. Thank you. All right, we're continuing our artist highlights here at RPM Fest. Phil, the honor is yours to introduce this next wonderful guest.
Yeah, so this guest, I met him 2 years ago when I was at RPM Fest because they were playing on Sunday, the last show. It's Chris from Pathogenic.
That's right. Here we are. Happy RPM, boys.
Yeah,
happy
RPM.
RPM.
Dude.
Yeah.
How you doing?
You know, I'm doing great. I got here yesterday and drank about 1,000 Miller Lights yesterday.
Nice. Miller Lite is
That's what Phil's got with him.
You know, you can't go wrong with the good pills.
Honestly, I think Miller Lite. Okay, let's go with the first question. Stupid question, but a question.
Okay.
Miller Lite or PBR?
I am now a Miller Lite guy. I used to be a PBR guy.
Yes.
You got to fight the hops, right?
That's
PBR
right.
is just it's just slightly too heavy.
Just a bit.
just slightly.
I mean?
You know, what's great about the Miller Lights is you can crush 1,000 of them and wake up the next day and, you know, be
Not
a little
hate yourself that much.
Yeah. Like I woke up today and I was like, you know, I can do that again today.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I plan on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
I mean, same thing. Miller Lite is it's a good beer.
Yeah.
It's a very good beer.
It is a good beer.
It's industrial,
Yeah.
but it's the good industrial.
When it's really cold.
Chris
in
and
a
Phil
bottle-
just had a nice jam sesh out here.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Check it
Both
out.
acoustic guitars.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
awesome.
It was fun.
So how many years have you been coming to RPM Fest?
Since it started, honestly, we played the first couple years that they did it,
Really?
and then we've been kind of off and on over the years. And you know, I remember when this started in Brian's backyard, and
Yeah.
we were just,
Wow.
you know, it was a blast back then. And now it's turned into this, which is absolutely incredible. And they've been
Wow.
doing it here, I think. I don't know, 6 years.
Yeah.
At this location.
I think 10 years.
10 years total.
Yeah.
Which
10
is
years
amazing.
total. Yeah.
There were a couple years where they didn't do it, which is
I mean,
Okay.
It was during 2020 and 2021 they didn't
Yeah.
do it. So yeah, it's 8 years. They did the festival for 8 years, but it's been 10 years that they exist.
10 years. Gotcha.
Do you like the 2 stages as opposed to the 3?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I feel like that third stage, it was just kind of shoved in there,
Yeah.
you know? And it would kind of conflict because I think there was just too much movement.
Yeah.
Yep.
Too much moving around, and I think the 2 is good. You know, a little bit less movement.
Yeah.
I think it's probably easier on the production end too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, but production-wise, it's what is one with 2 stage? It's okay, there's a band playing now.
Yep.
And then, after that, you can go to the other tent,
Yeah.
and there's another band playing. Instead of being oh, I'm conflicted. Do I go to the band in the pavilion, the whatever, or the band in the tent? What do I do?
Yeah.
I honestly think it sounds a little better. You know, they got less guys working. The tent sounded amazing. Yesterday, I was sitting there wow, these drums, who's ever doing the sound, they're doing a killer job. They did great.
Yeah.
And, you know, Brian knows his shit, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to the sound guys and all the crew people that make this thing happen because they're
shout
doing
out.
sound checks nonstop and they gotta fucking get it right and
Exactly.
they
It's
hit
a
it
long
every
day.
time.
Exactly.
It's a long day.
How's the band doing?
The band is doing great. You know, we got a new album in the cook, probably coming out later this year,
Ooh.
so that'll be fun.
I'm excited to hear that.
That'll be real fun.
I'm excited because like I heard of you just because of RPM Fest.
Yep.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I went on stage with you guys because at the end
you came up for Master of Puppets.
Yeah. You
Hell
remember?
yeah.
Fuck yes.
Oh, of course. That was like an iconic moment for us.
Just because of that, I lost my voice.
Oh.
Just after the
I'm glad.
the Master of Puppets song, like I looked at Mark, which was one of the guys I was with back 2 years ago, and I look at Mark, I was like, I cannot talk anymore. I cannot talk.
Well, I feel honored that you could have, you lost your voice during.
Yeah, during
Master
your
of Puppets.
show,
A lot of passion.
during Master of Puppets and
It
your
was a
show.
good time.
Yeah, it's like I had to.
So, all right. So, funny thing about that is, the headlining band dropped off.
It wasn't atheist.
It was atheist. They had to drop off. So Brian came up to us and was like, "Hey, you think you guys could like headline?" And we didn't have enough material planned.
Yeah.
So we were like, should we play Master of Puppets? Because like, Justin and I know it like the back of our hands, and Tyler knows it well enough to fake it.
Yeah.
Dan didn't even play a single note of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
He just faked the whole thing. At some point, he like passed the bass off to our buddy Kyle, who knew it on bass, and he started playing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it was like a spur of the moment kind of thing.
Nice.
I don't even think Jake sang a single word because he just gave the mic and everyone started.
Yeah, we
going
all
at it.
just did it.
And then everyone came up on
That's
stage.
a beautiful thing.
I growled so much.
It was awesome. It was so fun, and it's very memorable. That's for sure.
What's your favorite thing about RPM Fest?
Honestly, just the hangs.
Yeah.
Like obviously the music's great, all the activities, but like coming here, hanging with people that you haven't seen in a long time,
Yeah.
catching up, and just having a good time. Like it's very laid back, very relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm walking around with no shirt on and a ukulele, so
That is
it's
perfect.
it's not every day you get to do that kind of thing. So you come
No.
to RPM and no judgment. People are excited to see you, and it's just a good time.
Great
I will say
community.
that's my favorite thing.
Yeah. It's awesome community.
Yeah. I mean, what's your favorite thing?
It's the community.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you can take metal, punk, hardcore, grind, slam, whatever it may be. You can get all sorts of people from all sorts of different walks of life, different spectrums. They all come together. Everyone loves a good wrestling show.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't care who you are. You love a good drag show.
Yeah.
Everyone loves to be entertained. And I
Yes.
think that really it's just a lot of good people that just love entertainment and they love to feel like they're a part of something. And I don't know if you really can find that anywhere else.
I mean,
No, absolutely.
It's only here at RPM Fest that I can see a fucking wrestling show with a fucking can of soup and a pickle, and also see Harley Quinn just dance in front of me.
Yeah.
Like Harley Quinn, like the best drag queen ever. Like, honestly, she's fucking insane. So yeah, Tatiana, I think that's the name of the drag queen.
I don't know.
What is the drag queen?
I couldn't tell you.
Who is she? It's
Tatiana Lockhart.
So shout out to Titania Lockhart. The drag queen brunch bingo was fucking insane. I won nothing.
The food is getting better.
Yeah.
It is on point
You
this
had
year.
Patch Burger?
No, not yet.
Oh, you got to.
I
have
had
to.
some stir fry last night though. That was pretty
Dude,
good.
The stir fries at Patch Burger, fucking top notch.
We got 2 patch burgers since like Friday.
I've had that, and I've had the Smork Burger for like 3 times now.
Yeah.
The what?
The s'more.
burger?
Smork Burger, yeah. It's a pulled pork. They do their house mustard sauce, pickled jalapenos, slightly grilled. So they have some, they're a little flatter,
All
a little
right.
more juicy. And mac and cheese.
That sounds incredible.
Oh my God. I can't stop eating it.
That might cure my hangover.
Honestly, it's a big, hey, if you want a hangover cure, we got Liquid IV.
Yeah, that's the best
I've been
thing.
bringing Liquid IV. Plus,
Smart.
a good Bloody Mary. Our man, I forget his name. I actually didn't get his name, but our boy over in the liquor area serving up spicy Bloody Marys. It's the way to roll.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Well, Chris,
Yes.
Sunseeker's playing right now.
Yeah, should we
I
go check 'em out?
appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
absolutely. I look forward
happy
to
RPM.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you guys play again.
Thank you.
In the near future.
Keep an eye out around December. We should be rocking in a town near you.
Yeah, and when's that album coming out?
I can't say, but winter.
All
winter
right,
time.
be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout. And
Be
if
on
one
the
day you
lookout.
come in Canada and you come in Quebec City, I'll be here to see you guys.
Oh yeah, here. Let me give you one thing before we go.
Let's go. That is perfect.
My man.
There we
Awesome.
go. Cheers, boys.
Thank you. Cheers.
Happy RPM.
Cheers, Cruz.
Guys, we're continuing our interviews here at RPM Fest, and actually we have our first real volunteer here. We have Brian with us today. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing wonderfully. It's always fun here.
Yeah, what was your job as far as volunteering for RPM Fest this year?
So far I was a floater, so basically anything that needed doing, I would do it. Like, what was it? I believe the things went from Velcroing the wires for the stages, like specific color codings for lengths, and more interesting, moving heavy objects. That's my favorite.
Yeah, you like moving heavy stuff, huh?
Oh, it's certainly
I
much
see
better
your
than
biceps
organization.
there. Look at you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that must be easy. That's why you like it.
Oh, I much prefer it to organizing things by the length.
Yeah, oh yeah, fuck that. What do you think of RPM Fest this year? You said that you've attended a couple years now.
I want to say I've been here like 4 or 5 years in a row, and so far, it seems like it gets bigger every year.
Yeah.
Like, there's more people, but everyone always seems like the kindest. Yeah.
What attracted you to wanting to volunteer?
Well, I figured my cousin wasn't going to be here this year. He's usually one of the bands, I was going to say headlining, but he's like on the middle stage usually. And I figured I might as well try and like help out and meet the people.
What is your cousin's band?
Power Up.
Power Up. Oh, nice.
Local band.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who is your cousin?
Justin.
Nice.
Justin is your cousin.
Oh, yeah. I believe he is the singer.
I fucking love Power Up. Like, Power Up, honestly, like, I'm not the biggest reggae fan or punk reggae, but when I heard Power Up for the first time, I was like, dude. I think it's Drew Phillips from Four Phantoms that recommended Power Up to us.
I believe so, yeah.
And also, Brian Westbrook, Lich King, and RPM Fest is playing in Power Up too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Oh, yeah.
How many have you attended? RPMs?
So far, 4 or 5, I want to say. We
Yeah.
skipped a year during the COVID years.
Yeah. Yep.
You know.
Which was your favorite band out of all those years to see?
I'm going to say biased and say Power Up.
Power Up?
Yep, I'm being heavily biased right now.
Yeah. I always enjoy how these guys can sort of craft a lineup that's independent of whatever the genre is. So you end up having a lot of punk, a lot of rock, a lot of death. There's been a little bit of black metal. I saw Chained to the Bottom of the Ocean was one of these bands out here. Moontooth, great band. Highly recommend. Black Tusk. These guys, they really throw them out. Prong was awesome last night. Josta played. I think it's one of the highlights that you can get here. It's not just showing up to something that is purely one genre. You're getting a little bit of everything and a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
What do you think of your food, huh? What are the food options you enjoy? Which ones are your favorite so far?
So far for food options, there was the ones that I've tried are the main tent over there. Like, it's got the Mork sandwich I tried. That was good once you added, like, it starts with a little bit of sauce, but I added extra just because. Oh, yeah.
The mustard based?
Yeah, the mustard based one.
Yeah,
That's
dude. I've had that
great.
Smork one, the spicy one.
Yeah.
I've had it like 4 times.
Honestly, I think the Cause of Death is fucking good. Cause of Death, like, I'm a burger fan, so, like, I saw a burger with mac and cheese, I was like, dude.
That's the one with the jalapenos and bacon, right?
Yeah, it's so good, so good. I'm a fan of bacon, and what I love is, like, it's not just like little slice of bacon. No, it's big bacon. It's the pork, like, itself.
Have you checked out Patch Burger?
I have not yet. I checked out the coffee store stand next to them a lot, though.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Smokestack.
Smokestack.
Oh,
They got
shout out to
really good
Smokestack.
stuff.
Keeping us caffeinated. The big fan. They do. Listen, great coffee. I like my coffee on the blacker side, less stuff in it, and it's very hard to get like a good black coffee. They do it awesome. They also have a Chestershire from Swansea, New Hampshire. They have a blue ribbon.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they're legit, man. They're legit.
Nice.
That's awesome stuff.
Very cool.
Have you attended any of the other events that have happened here at RPM Fest? I know today we have a ton of stuff. Metal Yoga already happened. Drag Brunch already happened. NBA Jam Tournament. You big NBA Jam guy?
Not really. I was at the Metal Yoga both times. It's always fun.
Yeah.
It inspires you to get more fit, I suppose. Every time I do it, I always find out like I've got new muscles that I've like never worked out before.
That is perfect. We all need to just like work out and have some good muscles. We all need it. I think if you just like, if you become a larva, you just won't be able to move. So you just need to work out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cardio's the most important, man.
That's what I say to myself every time I go to the gym. I never do it. I just do muscle because I'm dumb.
Brian, would you be able to tell us some of the perks of being a volunteer at RPM Fest?
All right, so the perks would be there are the volunteer tent over there. They got free Gatorade, like drinks and stuff to keep everybody hydrated. And I would say 2 or 3 times a day you get a meal ticket, like per shift, for food just for like throughout the day.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
Free tickets, free merch, always fun.
So you'd say it definitely benefits to volunteer.
Oh yeah. Definitely, I would give it a shot if you get the chance. It's like been one of the most fun times of my life so far.
That's awesome. Who out of all the bands that are playing on this fabulous Sunday are you looking forward to seeing? We've already had Rock Shop and Sunseeker, and I think right now we have the Rupert Selection that's playing. Glacier plays up after that on the main stage.
I gotta say, it's the closing one, Goblet. They've been here for every single RPM Fest that I've been to, and supposedly back to the first one.
Yes, back before it was even RPM.
Yeah.
Back when it was just a backyard bash.
That's awesome. Well, Brian, hey, I appreciate you taking the time and talking to us today. It's been very informational. Everyone, remember, when you go to these festivals, it's hot out, drink water. Definitely look into volunteering. You can hang out with cool people like Brian and make the whole thing happen.
Oh yeah, give it a shot. You won't be disappointed.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Hey guys, we're continuing our interviews here at RPM Fest. We have another fabulous vendor with us. We have Morgan from the Morrigan Art. How are you?
I am excellent. It's a gorgeous day out here. How are you guys?
We're doing all right, you know. You got to drink your water. It's hot out here.
Yeah,
Stay hydrated.
It's pretty hot. Stay hydrated and just like drink beer, drink water, but drink water too.
Yes. If you're drinking beer, drink the water too.
Yes, absolutely. So, you have a very unique artistic style that I've noticed.
Thank you.
A lot of sort of black light, very vibrant, realistic, almost like picture, like a snapshot in time, if I would say. So it's really cool.
Thank you.
Really cool. Could you tell us like where you got the inspiration, where it kind of came from? Did you spend a lot of time at like Roll On America, where there was...
I spent a lot of time in Spencer's with the black light posters, and then I refined it with a fine art vision.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I do a lot of landscapes with fantasy figures, a lot of warrior women. I love doing warrior women.
Yeah.
My patron goddess, the Morrigan, is a triple aspect goddess. So she's war, magic, and death, as opposed to like maiden, mother, and crone, which I thought was really cool.
I'm unfamiliar. Can you explain a little bit deeper? Is it pagan? It's
a pagan. It's Celtic.
Okay. Yeah,
She's a Celtic goddess.
Nice.
So you see her a lot in Celtic mythology.
Do you do a lot of your art based on Celtic mythology, or is it more images that you sort of gravitate, like think that you could really bring to life?
I like the natural world, and I like accentuating the beauty in our natural surroundings, the trees, the forests, the streams and the glens.
I saw you have a tarantula?
Yes.
Very cool.
Thank you. That was my live art piece for this weekend.
Yeah.
I started it here, and I finished it. I'm so happy.
Yes. It looks awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously, like I saw your heart, and when it was like during like the night, I saw everything just lighting. I was like, what is that?
Anyone who's got like, you know, your man cave stuff where it's like you get into the basements and they keep the dark lights all the time, like it's perfect because it shows up. Video game rooms, a lot of video gamers out there, you know, really into like Elden Ring, a lot of the big fantasy video games. Like that's a great backdrop to have.
Yes, I get
really
a lot of my
shows.
inspiration from the fantasy video games too.
Yeah,
A lot of my characters come from the fantasy video games, and I put them in, you know, spots in New England that I thought were just picturesque and beautiful, and then highlight them with UV.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's super cool. Is this your first time at RPM?
This is my third year at RPM. It
Third
is my
year.
favorite festival. I do a lot of festivals. I do a lot of EDM and hippie jam band stuff, and RPM, hands down, my favorite festival. I love the music. I love the people. It's always run so well.
What's your music taste? Where do you gravitate? Punk, metal, rock?
I'm kind of eclectic. I gravitate toward the darker music. I like metal. I like gothic. I used to frequent a hardcore place, an all ages hardcore place in Westfield, Massachusetts called Gabby's.
Nice.
It's not there anymore, but I got to see a lot of local Massachusetts hardcore bands when I was like a young teenager. It was so awesome, and that's kind of what got me into the community.
That's fantastic. Yeah, no, it's awesome to have you here. Oh, out of this weekend, either a band coming up or a band that has already played, what was your favorite to see? I mean, you've spent a lot of time in your tent, so you probably haven't had a lot, but we're right next to the main stage
I
right
get to
here.
see all of the Phantom stages. I get to hear everything on the Wicked Row, and the kids, those little kids, they were so
Rock shop.
good.
Yes.
I was really psyched to see them.
It really does the heart good, huh? You know, to see the next generation coming up, being able to have them play to a live crowd.
I love seeing kids get involved in the music and the community and stuff. It's so awesome. But also Tower, they were great.
Tower, yes.
Tower
Always
was
a
so
favorite.
good.
That's awesome.
Bonginator was good. I liked them.
It's funny because
throwing the toilet paper.
Yeah.
Yep.
it's funny because we talked about a rock shop, and like I saw rock shop and I was like, it reminds me of me when I was like a wee kid.
Just a wee lad.
I was a wee lad playing guitar, and like even though me, I'm like, oh, you should move more. Like I could not say that to the me before because I was not moving. So I understand why they do that. They are stressed.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure they will go so far. Like they are already so good and so young. We're gonna see their headlining bands.
And now we see the singer.
At RPM.
Absolutely. In a couple years, they'll be headlining.
Yeah.
The singer of Rock Shop is like this. Imagine in 5 or 10 years, he's going to be Bonginator.
Yeah, if they're already this good.
The parents that came today, I got to tell you, it's very encouraging to see all the parents that show up to support.
That is fun.
Investing in the next generation.
Absolutely. Just makes it
all about.
Just makes it all the more
I mean,
worthwhile.
shout out to the parents of all musicians. Shout out to them. Shout out to, like, they pay or they receive, like, music instrument for free, or they pay for instrument for their child. And their child are just like, yo, let's make music with that.
Yeah. Having parents who support creativity of all sorts is so key in funding, in cultivating our youth and our culture in the future.
Yeah.
So Morgan, if somebody wanted to find your art, where would they go?
TheMorriganArt.com.
Perfect. Do you have a Instagram, Facebook?
It is the Morrigan Art is my Instagram, and Facebook is Unique Art for Strange Hearts.
That's awesome.
Thank
you. We appreciate you taking the time. We'll let you get back to selling your beautiful artwork.
Oh, thank you guys so much.
I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. I hope you sell out.
Oh, thank you guys.
That's the goal, right?
It's always the goal.
Awesome.
Share the art with the world.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, we're continuing our RPM Fest interviews. We have Angie here from Photography by Anrova.
Yes, that's correct.
Awesome. She's actually taking a lot of photos of the bands, vendors, basically the whole thing. Have you been going at this the whole weekend?
So I missed it yesterday. Sad face, but but I was here on Friday. I actually... it's been 8 years since I've actually attended RPM Fest, so I'm excited to be back.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone's excited to have you. So far, what bands are you excited to photograph?
I'm excited to see Misery Index later.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sad that I missed Prong yesterday, but
It was in the rain.
Aw.
You know, so that would have been difficult, but I mean, it did clear up a little bit after, but I mean, the guys did a fantastic job.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Prong was so good.
You gonna
so good.
take some photographs of the wrestling? Some action shots?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
It was really cool. On Friday, we had they had a burlesque show, and that was my first burlesque show.
Ooh.
So that was
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, Phil went to the bingo today.
Yeah, I went to the bingo. Well, burlesque and drag is a bit different, but they have some similarities.
Yeah.
But the drag was pretty cool. It's a burlesque show in a way. Like, it's Tatiana, I think, Lockhart.
Tatiana Lockhart.
Yeah, Tatiana Lockhart. She was doing like this performance, like she comes as Harley Quinn, and like she's like zip off everything and just like do like the Pink "So What" song. I'm just like, yo, that's perfect.
I caught the end of it, but I got a couple shots. So
Yeah, that's perfect.
did you win?
No, I was on the edge.
You know
of
who did
winning.
win was Carl.
Yeah,
Our man
Carl,
from the
Carl win.
the Irony Jewelry.
Yeah, Carl win. I don't know what he won. I don't remember.
Who knows?
Carl!
We'll have to ask him.
What did you want?
Angie, how did you get into photography? What gravitated you towards it?
So I got my first camera when I was 13.
Yeah.
I started off with like nature photography, but after I graduated from high school, I went to college for a little bit. When I came back to Connecticut, I went to a local show, and ever since then, I've been doing band photography. And I took a little break, but now I'm back and I'm excited.
Awesome. What's one of your favorite photos that you've taken?
Oh, this is a hard question. I'm a little humble, so.
All of them. You can say all of them. No. There's no shame in that.
I kind of dabble in like surrealism too, so a couple of those artsy shots, I think those are my favorite.
Yeah.
They're more time consuming, but
Yeah.
it's
That's awesome.
Surrealism is so good. I like surrealism.
Well, hey, we got who's up now? It's Glacier.
Yeah, Glacier.
We got Glacier playing. I'm sure you got to go take some photos of those guys. So, hey, we appreciate you taking the time. Super cool to have you. Obviously, we met her because it's hot outside. We're giving out waters. Everybody's got to stay hydrated. But, hey, looking forward to seeing the photos that you produce. And, I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.
you as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and thank you
absolutely.
for the water earlier, taking care of us.
Another one? We'll give you another one.
Always.
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, absolutely. All right, guys, we're continuing our RPM Fest interviews. We actually have a really cool guest here with us. We have Robert from Goblin Hovel from yesterday.
That's correct. Hello.
How's it going, man?
Good. I'm doing very well. Having a great time. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Pretty good, pretty good.
Is this
Good.
the first time you played RPM Fest?
It is, yes.
Yeah. What did
It
you
is.
think of it?
Oh, from the moment I passed through the gate, it was just good vibes from start to finish. We all had a wonderful time. Our set, the sound guy was on point, really friendly. Everything sounded wonderful. The crowds were great. all the hospitality and the amenities have been so gracious, so grateful for John and everyone else. It's just been wonderful.
That's fantastic. I mean, you guys were greeted with a great surprise.
Yes. So the goblins in the crowd, we did not know them. they were totally unaware there was a goblin band playing. It was two.
It's like 4 of them, right? Something like that?
There was a whole group of them. If you go in the woods, it's the same people who built that log cabin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I saw them the first night putting it together, and I walked by and I'm like, you guys win. You already win.
Yes, goblins in the mosh pit for Goblin Hovel.
Yeah.
You don't get that anywhere else.
No.
On RPM.
You know, the folk metal tour packages barely come through anymore.
Yeah.
That's where you see them. But yeah.
That's awesome. So, why Goblin Hovel? Are you guys big D&D fans? You big fantasy guys?
Yes. So the band was founded by our vocalist, bassist, Derek, or the Nameless Goblin, and we all like fantasy stuff, Warhammer, D&D.
Yeah.
You name it, and he's very much into shamanism and folklore, and a lot of it's inspired by actual real countries' folklore about goblins. There's goblins in British folklore, German folklore, Korean folklore. There's Korean goblins. There's South African goblins.
The Japanese have like amphibians, kind of goblin-esque.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Yeah, like there's just the essence of goblinhood, and it's really kind of a stand-in for otherness.
Okay.
Like the goblin is kind of like the allegory is kind of like the other, the outsider, because our music is a little off kilter, and I think it's a really good vehicle for that.
Yeah.
Well, it allows us to have this fun, mischievous veneer, but there's subtext.
Yeah. How long have you guys been a band?
So Derek started the band in about 2010 as a college essay joke. I think he devised it for college. He went to Allegheny College in Pennsylvania, and it started off as this kind of a joke, really.
Yeah.
It was kind of a joke, but against his will, it became so much more.
Yeah.
I joined in about 2014, and for many years it was an acoustic metal thing. It kind of started off as this experiment to make acoustic metal music, and at one point it was electric, and then recently, like post-COVID, in the middle of COVID, we decided we wanted to switch to an electric sound. We did Whatever Keeps the Lights On, which was electric interpretations of past works, sort of compiled together a couple years ago, and we just have been keeping this train going, and it's been going very well so far.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is there any places in particular you would love to play?
I mean, we are dying to eventually tour Europe.
Yeah.
I feel like we'd go over pretty well, especially in Eastern Europe, where they're crazy about goblins and shit up there. We've had invitations to play the Pacific Northwest. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Scandinavia. Get to Asia.
Yeah.
There's so many amazing places in the world that I think we would enjoy.
Who would you love to tour with? I have a band in mind. I want to see if you can get them.
I mean, I think I would love to tour with Mr. Bungle.
Mr. Bungle.
Ooh, Mr. Bungle.
That would be cool.
It would be fucking insane.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, who you think?
Morgul Blade.
I know Morgul Blade.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings based metal
out
band.
Of
I think
Philly.
you guys would fucking fit right in.
They're like black and heavy metal.
Yep.
Out of Philly, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It would be
album.
awesome.
Yeah, they just came out with another album, didn't they?
Yes.
Album 2?
Yes, they did.
I have to check that out.
I would do you guys. I would do Morrigan Blade.
Yeah.
I would do. Oh man, if I had to really put it out there, I'd probably put a sludge band in. Frog Lord is my go-to.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Yeah, but I think just something really unique, could really play on the fantasy whim. Bog Wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because of our eclectic sound, we have a good amount of crossover appeal, and we do pretty well with mixed genre, but also mixed sub-genre shows,
Wow. That's fun. I love mix. I love when bands have a bass genre and a bass subgenre, but I love when bands are just mixing it, and your stuff is pretty cool. If you mix it, that's even better in my opinion.
Yeah, and we have a pretty wide discography. We put out a lot of material.
Yeah.
So we have all kinds of songs. We can really curate it to the bands that we're playing with. If we want to do a more black metal-y one, we want to do a more Americana Appalachian metal thing, we can do that, etc.
Wow.
I'm really grateful that I'm in a band with such a prolific songwriter, that being Derek. He'll just get a spurt and, oh hey guys, I wrote an EP. Hey.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I wrote 100 albums in one day.
Oops. Hey guys. Whoops.
Whoops, we have 100 songs now.
What's a
All
band-
bangers.
What's a band you're looking forward to seeing today?
Oh, well, just saw Sunseeker. They're fucking great. You have to forgive me. Nixel, I know they're pretty fucking great. A friend of mine who I have a band that's kind of spread around knows one of the members, and they're pretty cool. Absolutely.
Scapel.
I've never heard them.
Kind of a death metal act.
Cool.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for Nixel.
Awesome. Well, hey, Robert, thank you for taking the time, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
And Goblin Hovel was awesome. I mean, you're not really are you ever going to see that again with the Goblins in the mosh pit. Unrelated to the act, that was fantastic. So I wish you guys the best of luck, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you guys on the bill again.
It was a great example of Goblin stance.
Yes.
But thank you so much for having me.
Yes, absolutely.
Great to talk with you too. Thanks for doing what you do.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Cheers. All right, guys. Hey, we're continuing our RPM interviews. We actually have a really cool idea here with us. It's a rock shop. I believe you guys are all music students, correct?
Yes.
Out of a what's the instructor's name? What's the place called? I know it's in Greenfield.
Yes. His name's Matt Kim, and it's called the Academy of Rock. Downtown Greenfield. Yeah, you're right.
Awesome. And please introduce yourselves for everybody out here.
I'm Noah.
I'm Julian.
I'm Ray. I'm Cole.
Awesome. It's really cool to have you guys here. Caught a little bit of your set. I love the idea. I love the concept. What brought you guys into wanting to do music lessons, learn your instruments, do the music? Take us through a little bit of your own personal journeys getting to this point.
Well, I actually never took lessons. I'm self-taught, but I wanted to go and take lessons, and then by the time I was going to take lessons, Rock Shop was going on, and I was told about it by two of my friends, and they were like, you should go do it. So I was like, figured I'd go do it.
For me, I had kind of picked up guitar for a month or two, and I kind of felt like it was going all right, kind of being, a little self-taught and whatnot, but I kind of wanted to elevate what I was doing, so I decided to take lessons, and didn't look back.
Yeah. For me, really, I started playing drums like a while ago, because I'm originally a drummer. I played guitar today, but I started playing drums a while ago, just taking private lessons, and then like 2 years ago or so, I was like, dude, this guy's cool. I should learn guitar too. That's sick. So I just started taking lessons where he does it, and that's it. It was just, I love it. It's cool. Yeah, I love that shit.
So about 2.5 years ago, my mom just randomly came up to me one day and she's like, hey, you ever thought about playing an instrument? And then from there, she signed me up at Academy of Rock to learn drums.
Wow.
And then I think first year I was there, about 6 months after I joined, I got drafted into the Rock Shop program. And then I've just been doing it ever since, been playing drums for about 2.5 years.
You got drafted. It's like the syndrome of drummer. Like the drummer already have 4 bands. Now you're in our band now.
Yep.
If you're a good drummer, you get the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's his name? Butler out of Shadow of Intent. I think he's got like 20 bands.
Yeah, Bryce Butler.
Yeah,
This
Bryce
guy
Butler.
is like so like in many bands. I think he got like in 16 bands at some point at the same time.
Yes, all different projects of different stages. Most of them touring acts.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's fucking insane. But sometimes you have to live of your heart. So he was doing it, and it's fun. And I hope you all doing like the art that you do and what you love.
Yep. Absolutely. You guys are the next generation. I think that the whole idea is really cool. Is this your first time playing RPM?
Yeah, it's my first time.
Yeah, for me.
First time. The other two, they've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cole and I did it last year. We did what was it? We did Metallica. We did a couple Metallica songs. Yeah. But yeah, second year here. Yeah.
It's my first year. I didn't know about it until I'm like new to Turner's-ish.
Yeah.
So I came here and then I joined band in school, and then I met Noah, and then met Julian, and they're telling me, and then I joined it.
The rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history.
You guys are going to stick around all day to see all the other bands. There's a wrestling show after.
Do you know what time that show is?
8:30.
8:30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
I mean, we'll probably head out for a little bit, but I want to come back.
Yeah.
So we'll be back.
Come back later. Hopefully it's a little cool.
Who got a driver's license between you, and who will be like the designated driver? I forgot it's America. It's all 21 plus.
All 21. Come on, Phil. Get it right.
Hey, sorry, I'm Canadian. It's all 18 in Quebec.
You should have seen what Patchburger was saying about Canadian bacon. You might have to go over there and fight him. No, that's awesome. So, when you guys decide what songs you're going to sing, how does that go? Is it collaborative? Does your instructor kind of present you with this is what you guys are going to do, or is there a certain? You got the Iron Maiden shirt on, you know, so I know that that was a little bit in there. So, how does that go about?
Yeah, I think a lot of us are already kind of into what our instructor will choose, but the way it works, he'll pretty much be talking about it with us for weeks to even up to a couple months, and will not tell you anything about what we're doing until the day. He's like, all right, it's all going to be this. These are your songs. Learn them now. And we just go from there. Yeah.
A little bit on the spot.
Yeah.
I see you guys show up with quite a few people. How many in total do you guys have when you perform?
There were 6 of us, and there were 5 of you guys.
Yeah, 5, and then there was like the singer was the same guy, so.
Yes. So 10 in total.
Yeah, 10.
So, about 10 people.
Okay.
Yeah, Rock Shop got split into 2 bands, and we got our different song set lists.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
If you really think about it. Do you guys all really enjoy? Shout out your instructor. What's his name? What's his background?
Matt Kim.
Matt Kim.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Matt Kim. That's really a cool. Yeah, that's awesome. No, it's really awesome. It's something you don't see a lot. Funny enough.
Yeah.
We're actually, we talked to Rob from Rockland Music, and he's a big instrument buy, sell, trade kind of guy. So I know you guys are just getting into it. He's the guy to hook up with as far as like if you're ever looking for guitars, you're ever looking for amps, anything like that. Because his whole idea is about rehoming a guitar or rehoming an instrument, and you don't get that at a Guitar Center. You don't get that online. Prices are just going up. You guys are going to feel it more than even the bands that are into it now. They're a little more established, so I highly recommend just getting his name, figuring out where he operates out of. I know Phil bought a guitar from him already.
Like, I just arrived here. I was like, okay, I got $300. I'm good. Oh, guitar 400? So good. Let's get more money.
So all of you guys, I want to know individually, what is your favorite genre and what is mostly like, what's your favorite thing to play right now?
Currently, I listen and I play a lot of death metal, and I play a lot of like grindcore, anything heavier than what we played today. But I still like these genres, and I still like to listen to all the classics. So anything from metal, like thrash metal, to heaviest stuff, pretty much.
For me, I definitely love a lot of old school metal, like Priest, like we played today, Maiden, Megadeth, Metallica, those kind of guys. And then some other like hard rock, some older like classic rock, hard rock.
Genre names and everything, it's all just kind of a mystery to me. I don't know anything really. Mostly what I listen to is just like a lot of like metal and hard rock from like the 80s, like anything from Van Halen to Pantera. I love all that kind of shit, you know.
Which Van Halen?
David Lee Roth era.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know, 5150 was still a decent record, but after that, it's like, you know.
I mean, Sammy Hagar is good. The singer of Extreme is good, but singer of Extreme is in Extreme. Like, no bands.
Yeah. I see it as like before Dave left, it was like very guitar heavy, and then he left and synthesizer kind of moved in and replaced a lot of guitar. There's still guitar, but it's like more synth, and it's like, I don't know. I still like it, but David Lee Roth is for me. Yeah.
So I listen to a lot of like heavy metal, death metal stuff, kind of same type of stuff as Ray. And then for playing, I mostly play heavy metal because I can't quite go like grindcore speed yet with a double kick and shit. So I mostly play heavy metal, but listen to a lot of deathcore, grindcore, brutal death metal, stuff like that.
Do you have a double pedal at home?
Yeah, just always working on getting it. Yeah, every day.
Practice and do your blast beat all the time.
Just don't try to do Thomas from Meshuggah, all right? The
guy's
God,
unreal.
There's only one. It's not fair to anybody else.
Yeah.
So try to follow that.
There's Thomas, but there's also another band, more like, we talked earlier about jazz and all. There's a black metal band called Imperial Triumphant. It's like avant-garde,
New York based
black metal. And the drummer, Kenny something, I don't know his last name.
Sorry, Kenny.
But sorry, Kenny.
We've talked to him before.
Sorry, but anyway, like, he's sight reading with like just like this. He just learned a song, just sight reading. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like this guy just got chops in a black metal band. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's awesome.
It's insane.
Hey guys, well, hey, we appreciate it a lot, taking the time. Super cool to see you guys out here. It's funny, we actually interviewed King from Deceased. He's the lead vocalist. He started his band, Deceased. It was under another name, but he started it when he was 16, 40 years strong. Yeah. So it's super cool to see the longevity come through here. It's awesome to see you guys doing your thing. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the festival, and I hope to see you guys out here in your own respective bands going forward. That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Hey guys, we're continuing our RPM Fest interviews here. We have Ben with Apocalyptic Party Press.
Yeah, Apocalypse Party Press, BR Yeager, yeah, absolutely.
Another Ben, another author.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very popular name for authors.
He was probably the first person that I ran into at the fest. He's been incredibly hospitable throughout the entire thing. We traded books. He seems just a really good guy. We're connected, yeah.
Yes, nice. Ben, also another horror author, Broken Lords podcast. Continue to support him and check that out. But hey, another horror guy. Ben told us a little bit about what you do. You want to explain it in a little more detail?
Sure thing. So I'm here today representing Apocalypse Party Press, which is a press based out of Philadelphia. the whole ethos around Apocalypse Party is the idea that all books are hallucinations or a gateway to hallucination. You look at words on a page and you get images in your head, so why not lean into that? So Apocalypse Party really focuses on very cerebral, psychological, often psychedelic, very personal and intense horror stories. I've been a part of it. I'm very friendly and admirers of all of the people that they publish, and I really honestly believe, even discounting myself, that they're really putting out a lot of what the new wave of horror fiction is coming up right now.
What constitutes, baseline, a really good horror story?
I would say that's a great question. I think it varies. It really depends on intention. I think with any work of art, any type of fiction, RPM Fest is a really great example of this, because you have such a wide variety of bands here, all under the umbrella of like metal and rock and roll of some sort, and everyone has like a very distinct sound. We have a wide variety of things, like Glacier that just came on, an instrumental like post-metal, very slow. The name gives you a clue of what this sounds like.
Oh, absolutely.
And then all the way on the other spectrum, you have like raw black metal, you have traditional heavy metal, traditional just rock and roll. You just have the entire gamut of that. So I think it really comes down to, with horror or any story, any form of art, it's what your intention is and how you go about fulfilling that intention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as horror for you, how'd you get into it?
It's been in my blood from early on. When I was a kid, I loved Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, that series. It horrified me at first. Everything that was scary to me initially, I ended up becoming gravitated towards later on.
Yep.
So it was like a lot of the classics. I loved the Universal monster movies. I loved Edgar Allan Poe. Was an enormous influence. Later on, getting into Ray Bradbury, Something Wicked This Way Comes became like a very big influence. And then you find, H.P. Lovecraft, Stephen King, Clive Barker, and you dig deeper and deeper into weirder and stranger things. You find things like Kathy Koja, and like things that are like more under the surface, just like with any art. Like, this is a really great showcase of like things that are happening in the underground right now.
Yeah, Phil helped me out. We were talking to Brandon from the Analog. Oh no, the name's gonna.
Analog Assault.
Analog Assault.
Great
he
booth.
had a VHS of Event Horizon.
Yes.
One of my it was my gateway horror movie. Which I got to tell you,
we don't need eyes here.
For everyone out there, that is a hell of a gateway movie. There is no lead up as far as how crazy that movie could get. So soon after that, it was The Thing. I was really into It, the original.
Yep.
So and I mean, my time when I was young, only 28, 1996, I was born.
Yeah.
So there was still a lot of stuff that was out there. A lot of body horror things came out around that area. So by the time that I was getting into it, you had things like The Fly, Slither, was that one?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Just the creepy, gelatinous kind of stuff that's
Certainly.
out there. If you had to pick a decade that's your favorite as far as horror, where would you go?
Oh my goodness. In terms of cinema, I would say, it's probably the 70s or 80s, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the greatest films ever made, period, and probably one of the best horror movies. I think the early 90s gets kind of looked over a little bit. Candyman is a phenomenal movie,
yes.
The original Candyman. In terms of literature, talking about the modern age, because horror literature stretches back hundreds of years. I kind of feel like right now is one of the best eras right now. There's like so many interesting new voices that are doing something different, something very personal, different, and vivid. Again, I think that there seems to be like a lot of interesting things happening and surprising things. But I can find things from like any decade, really. I think every decade has a very distinctive very distinctive voice, a very distinctive tone. There's different topics that come up, which is very interesting. So you can kind of like see where society's at a little bit by viewing like what horror media is being produced.
So I know a big thing that came out of that decade was found footage films.
Yes, certainly.
So the Blair Witch. Everyone wants to be a Blair Witch.
Yep.
The only witch that I like was The Witch.
The Witch is phenomenal,
that
absolutely.
Thing is amazing. I love that movie. What would you like to see if you could? I mean, it's tough to be like as an artist yourself, right? Because we're all critics when it comes to artists. Everything's got to be in a particular order, particular sort of mainstay. But if you had to orchestrate a movie, where would you go? There's a lot of like a psychological. You had things with the different monster movies. I thought The Quiet Place. John Krasinski. I thought that was really cool. A nice idea. When I first saw it, blew me away because basically no dialogue,
right?
All noise,
right?
And I thought that as far as a horror aspect, you're on the edge of your seat.
Right. So the thing that I really like, I would love to see horror become more psychedelic and more hallucinatory and dreamlike. Essentially, there's nothing. The thing I always say is that there's nothing less frightening than knowing exactly what's going on. So if you pull that out from anyone while still keeping a consistent vision, so it doesn't all, you can tell that there's intention behind it, but if you're kept on the edge of your seat the entire time, like it's that old adage of everything's so much scarier until they actually reveal the monster.
Yeah.
If you can maintain that throughout the entire thing, that level of uncertainty, while still feeling that it's a consistent vision and that's all done with intention, I think that's the sweet spot for me. That's magical.
That's awesome. You're an author yourself.
Yep.
What's one of the favorite books that you've written?
So I think the ones that everyone seems to like the most right now is this novel, my second novel, Negative Space, which is essentially, it's kind of like me doing my takeoff of it in a way. It's except again, very psychedelic and kind of in the modern day. But it's 3 teenagers in this dying mill town in New Hampshire. This terrible suicide epidemic is going on. And in order to cope with it, they go towards this hallucinogen called Whirl that ends up putting them in contact with interdimensional entities. And things proceed from there. But me personally, I think my favorite book is my latest short story collection called Burn You the Fuck Alive, which is about 20 different stories of just, it's me like just trying to like, it's kind of like me trying to do something like splatterpunk or something like that, where it's just like relentless, one harsh thing after another. That's hopefully like, not just splatter for splatter's sake. I hope that there's like intent behind it. But yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Ben, appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you so much.
I hope you sell everything out as a vendor here. Real quick, is this your first time here at RPM Fest?
Second time.
Second time.
Second time vending, fourth time attending, yeah.
What do you think of it so far?
Oh, it's amazing. I think that this is the best one that they've had yet. It's amazing to be here for their 10th anniversary. I've discovered so many great bands from here. Picked up a few CDs. Necrolon, phenomenal. Contusion, phenomenal. C, phenomenal. Came here specifically. I'm kind of a fanboy of Witching. I'm not sure if you caught Witching yesterday.
Witching.
Unbelievable, phenomenal band. So great stuff today. Glacier was great. Just looking forward to more. It's been phenomenal.
Fantastic. Yeah, Misery
Awesome.
Index headline tonight.
Hell
Goblin
yeah.
over at the Wicked Ronin
Hell yeah.
stage. It's going to be awesome.
And right now it's Scapel playing.
Scalpel, yes.
Fantastic.
Little death metal. We need it.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Awesome.
You.
Thank you so
Ben.
much.
It's been fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, guys, we are continuing our RPM Fest interviews. We are greeted by a gang of people, actually. Phil, he has a notepad right in front of us. I know we have Gino, we have Matt, and we have Lori. Yes, from Xposse Productions.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
So exactly, what brings you guys here today? Is this your only day that you set up? Did you set up for the rest of the weekend?
This is the only day. We are showing our movie, the first premiere of Scary Tales Dark Walker. So no better place than the RPM Fest to show it. So that's what we're here. We're here to spread awareness. We're on Tubi. We're trying to make our way, and so we're hoping to be shown some love tonight.
That's awesome. What time are you going to start premiering it?
8:30 tonight. It's
8:30
at the Pavilion.
Nice.
So, it's a creature feature, a bunch of monsters, aliens, Bigfoot, Dark Walker, Muffin Man, zombies, demons, anything but the kitchen sink.
That's awesome. So, Gino, exactly what's your role in the production?
Writer, director, producer, editor, marketing, everything but acting.
Matt?
I'm a producer. I also run a camera. But basically, I run around. There's a lot of things that have to happen to make a movie. So if you need a sound guy or we need anything, I'll make it happen.
Lori?
I do a lot of acting in Gino's films. I'm also helping Gino with a lot of the marketing, with promoting the film or films that we do. So
nice. That's awesome. How many guys have you? How many movies have you guys done?
I've been filming since basically since I was 12, but my first movie came out in 2001.
Okay.
So it's between the films that I've produced and I've written, it's like 50. But over the past 4 years, when we've all come together, it's been 8 films.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's all of you guys here with us today, collectively. That's awesome.
Yes.
Which one of those was your favorite?
It's tough, but Fatal Justice, The Christmas Invitation, my Christmas movie, and Dark Walker. Those 3 would be my favorite.
My favorite would probably have to be Rise of the Scarecrows. We filmed it up on a mountain with no electricity, so that was a project in itself. What about you, Lori?
I'm also a huge fan of Rise of the Scarecrows, and I love Fatal Justice. Dark Walker is going to be up there with that too, with the great movies.
So we just got done talking from Ben from Apocalyptic Party Press, author, big horror guy himself. We talked to another Ben that's around here too.
Yeah.
Broken Lords podcast, also an author. Horror has taken a lot of twists and turns. We asked Ben the same question. We'll ask you guys the same question. What's your favorite decade of horror?
The 70s, without question, had there was something magical where we're coming off like the hippies, the Charles Manson stuff, and we're landing, right at the the infancy of the independent filmmaker that didn't need a lot of money, that bought the film-ins to make their own movie. And so that the drive-in 70s, that's my time.
I'd have to say the 80s, but I'm happy to be a part of it.
The 80s, definitely. That's when I was old enough to watch horror movies, and I just really got into them.
As far as being into productions, is there an emotion that you're more likely to try to capture when you make a movie? I know that that's sort of vague in a way, but nowadays there's a whole bunch of psychological, there's monster, slasher, and I feel like some of them, like we talked about The Quiet Place, the original that first came out with John Krasinski, how there was just no dialogue at all.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes they try to capture a different emotion throughout the movie. Is there something particular that you're always looking for?
My main thing is to try to make it relatable and make people feel something. Like, I'm old, so I've lived a lot. So I try to bring out through my own experiences, relationship-wise, friendship-wise, and just try to make someone walk away and say, I know how that character felt. We are dialogue-driven, we're story-driven, even though we have monsters and all that stuff. But the main point is, I want people walking away, not just saying it was a gore fest. I want them to say, I know what she thought, I know what he thought.
Yeah.
So I want emotion. That's why I did the Christmas movie. I want you guys to cry. I want you guys to hug your girlfriends and say, wasn't that a beautiful thing? So that's what I'm trying to do with my horror films too.
What about you, Matt?
So one of my favorite movies is Silence of the Lambs, and it's suspense. That movie isn't really that gory. It's not a slasher flick, but it's one of the scariest movies of all time. And if we can produce that,
I agree with you. Honestly,
right.
I'm not the biggest horror fan. I love horror movies, but as far as horror, it's between all the body stuff like David Cronenberg's kind of movie, or more the psychological horror. Like all the jump scare, I don't give a fuck, to be honest. You can scare everyone. You can do just like, but for me it sucks. For me, I prefer something that is just like, it's like a snake, just rampant. And Silence of the Lamb is one of my favorite movies as of horror, and also all the camera angle, technical aspect of it. I just like, it's not just like, I film you, and this. No, it's just like it films you in front of you and just give another aspect on like the discussion. It's very interesting.
Lori, what about you?
So the thing that drew me to Gino's movies was the fact that he was such a great writer for especially a woman. And that's going to sound really weird, but like you think of like a cheesy horror film and there's a woman and she's stupid and she get killed in the first 5 minutes of the movie or whatever. Gino writes such a good character that I could relate to.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun to be able to play someone who's seemingly normal and strong at the same time, and like someone that doesn't look badass is actually really badass in the film, and like she progresses along the way. So I always look for that that human emotion that you can relate to.
Yeah.
So I love anything like that. I mean, I am a fan of the horror genre, so anything that's very suspenseful and you're like, okay, what's gonna happen? Okay, something's gonna happen, but when is it gonna happen? And you just kind of like follow through, and makes your heart stop a little bit. So that's what I look for.
Absolutely. So what do you guys think of RPM Fest so far?
Oh, it's awesome. These I don't want to sound like a asshole, but I sound like these are my people. We're the same, and this is like metal and horror. It goes hand in hand, and to see like everyone here so fucking awesome. It's such a cool event. It's my pleasure. I'm so glad I was invited, and I hope I entertain tonight with Dark Walker.
Yeah, we were a last-minute addition. We didn't know we were coming here until like a week and a half ago.
That was us.
Yeah.
We're right there with you.
No, we're happy to be here. We'll be here for all 3 days next year. And with some luck, we might even be filming here next year, so.
Ooh. Another movie.
You got a lot of extras.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, so everyone is so down to earth and so cool. And yeah, like Gino said, these are our people. These are the people that we want to be around. We want to collaborate. We want to network with. So it's been amazing. Can't wait to be here next year.
As far as music goes, what's your genre? What do you gravitate towards?
You know what? I'm a metalhead. That's what I am. I just saw Judas Priest a few months ago in Connecticut. Fucking badass. And I'm like one of those 80s guys, man. I went through the 80s. Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Merciful Fate. These are my things. So
Dawkins.
Dude.
Duran.
Hungry like a fucking wolf.
Queensryche.
That's what I'm saying.
I saw
Queensryche.
Jeff Tate at a dance ranch in Worcester.
Oh, okay.
Still got it.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. But yeah, it's anything metal typically I really enjoy, especially like the 80s, even the hair bands. Minus you can keep Damn Yankees, but other than that, I'm good.
I'm all over the place, really. Rock, grunge. I like a little bluegrass if it's fast paced, actually. But my first concert ever was Slipknot and System of a Down, so this is perfect for me.
Do you like Clutch?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, big. My hat right here. I'm a big Clutch fan. I actually have the tattoo. I should show you the tattoo, but I got the self-titled.
Nice.
So metal is not my genre. Sorry, but I'm very open to music. I'm enjoying everything here.
Yep.
It's amazing. They're great musicians. But I'm all over the place with music. I mean, it goes anywhere from old school jazz all the way up to anything. I mean, punk rock,
old school jazz, blues, maybe.
Ska. I love blues.
I recommend for you. You should check out Temple of the Fuzz Witch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
As far as somebody who's open.
Yeah.
Oh, you might enjoy that. That's for sure.
Awesome.
They're on the crazier side.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love
if
it.
you love jazz, old jazz, or if you love like a little bit like classic blues, like you said, Temple of the Fuzz Witch, or even like some stoner band or sludge band that was like they're not like too heavy. It's just like very fuzzy and very slow.
We love those fuzzy riffs.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Big fuzzy riff fan.
Yeah, always
Nice.
fuzzy rough.
Awesome,
Fuzzy
guys.
rough.
Well, hey, we appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to us. Good luck with the premiere. We'll be watching. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, let us know what you think, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey guys, we are continuing our RPM Fest interviews. We have another fantastic vendor with us. We have Scraps from Scraps Sparks.
Yeah.
Sparks being spelled backwards. Well, we got to clarify for the people. How else are they going to find you?
Oh, I don't know.
Is this your first
you want my
time?
Instagram? What?
I'm sorry.
I can give you that if you want.
No.
That's how people can find me.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your Instagram?
It's at Scraps is Bloody, all one word.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, is this your first time here at RPM Fest?
This is my first RPM Fest, and I'm
Really?
loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You enjoy? So you've been here all 3 days?
I have, yes.
How have you been selling your merchandise and your products?
Well, so this is my first event that I have my own table. I usually sell commission with my friends, and I've made a lot of money. It's been good. So that's been really awesome. I have my forge out here, which I think helps a lot. So to kind of, it's also the first event where people can kind of see me working on what I do, see me actively, creating things. Most of what I got new today, or this weekend rather, is I have a new line of self-defense hairpins.
Really?
Yeah, they're kind of a thing of, enough walks home alone from the bar. And a lot of places will like confiscate pepper spray and stuff, which is like kind of stupid, right? Because that's the time you need it the most.
Yes.
So trying to like integrate fashion in I focus on a lot of wearables in my work.
Wow,
It's kind of where I specialize. Yeah.
So, for those that don't know, obviously Scraps is a blacksmith. That is a hard trade.
Yeah.
Skillful trade.
Yes.
As I'm a plumber, so loosely,
Respect.
It's kind of funny to call myself a tradesman, where you yourself are doing such an original, handy, actual, real useful trade.
As if plumbing's not. No, game respects game. I don't want my house to not have plumbing in it. We need y'all.
How did you get into blacksmithing?
Yeah, it was kind of a funny story. Originally I didn't have that much interest in it, but I was at a fair with my folks when I was a kid. And my mom sees this blacksmith there, and they're like, wouldn't it be fun if you and your dad, took that class and made me a pot hanger? And so...
Just kind of commissioned you right off the bat.
Yeah, just immediately. It's like, I was, kind of skeptical at first. Went into the class with who would eventually be my, mentor to this day. I ended up doing my apprenticeship with him. I took that first class. He was really, really cool, and took some time for. Obviously, you can't see this because we're on a podcast right now. But I'm actually missing my left hand from about 6 inches below the elbow. My left arm is missing, and so it's really cool to have the person who ended up teaching me is at a Prospect Hill Forge in Waltham, Mass. And he
Awesome.
made time to make sure I could, come in early, figure out a way that we could make this work for each other. And I've just been doing it ever since. It's been 13 years now that I've been blacksmithing.
That's awesome.
I ended up kind of from that going into other types of metal work. And I most of how I make my day-to-day living is through teaching blacksmithing and welding classes, and I'm also a freelance welder.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you brought over here. You have a collar here.
Yeah.
That I believe you fashioned, and
Yes,
you're also wearing a pretty intimidating necklace there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my.
Hopefully you can get some pictures of these for wherever you're gonna put if you put any digital photo media
Yes.
up
for
anywhere.
Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I guess I'll start talking about the collar. The collar I made, I was invited out to it was a application process. It was very, very selective for a residency at the John C. Campbell Folk School in North Carolina.
Okay.
It was a really, really cool opportunity. They, basically paid me some money to travel out there, fed me, housed me, and I got to just make stuff for an entire 2 weeks.
Awesome.
The first week had a little bit more hands-on instruction, where we really as a group, there were 2 incredible instructors out there, Tal Harris and Beth Holmberg. The first week, Beth came with us, really helped us hone in our fundamentals. We all had a pretty decent amount of experience going in, and so having someone who is really, really at a high level, just helping us break our bad habits, helping us learn how to do things in a really efficient way while also caring for our bodies, which is really important when you're doing such a physical trade.
Oh, the longevity.
Absolutely,
longevity.
right? If I want to be doing this for another few decades, I really got to take care of myself.
Yep.
And then the second week, we learned more traditional joinery. And the assignment for that week was to make a piece that uses some of the fundamental skills we learned in the first week, as well as at least 2 different types of traditional joinery. Okay. The collar you have in front here has these hinges on the side that help it open and close. There's also a latch here. Hinges are one form of joinery. The spikes and loops are all put on there using what's called a mortise and tenon joint. Some people are familiar with woodworking. Mortise and tenon joints work a little bit differently in blacksmithing, where you basically build a rivet into a piece and then you rivet it on itself.
Wow.
Which is really cool. And then the last type of traditional joinery used on these is these 2 horns at the front are used what's called a collaring technique, where you place them into place and then you wrap a third piece of metal around them to hold them in place. Yeah, and that residency was really cool. If you don't mind, I would like to talk a little bit about some of the organizations that helped make that possible.
Yeah.
So I kind of mentioned earlier that I'm, that I have a disability. I was born missing my left hand, and one of the organizations I'm out here representing is the Society of Inclusive Blacksmiths, which is this really awesome organization that's helping underrepresented groups of people be more seen in blacksmithing. And to me, this is really cool. One, because blacksmithing did a lot for me. I'm like many artists. Art saved my life, right? Yeah. I was an angsty kid in the suburbs. I had a lot of issues growing up.
And like 182.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Literally. And so it's kind of a thing of I was given this really, really cool way to express myself, but it also forced me to learn a lot of discipline, right? A lot of, in both taking care of my body and both the safety of, the tools I was using. I was working with fire every day. And it's I don't know, you give a angsty teenager, you say, oh, you can light fires and hit metal and make art. I was like, oh, okay, I'm in. But yeah, so having that be able to be a thing for more people, right? I was very lucky to have to run into the person who I took my first classes in and eventually did my apprenticeship with, who was so accommodating. Yeah. And really what I want to keep doing in my craft is to continue making blacksmithing accessible for everyone. Yeah. Right? Women, queer folks, people of color are vastly underrepresented in our craft, and honestly are doing some of the coolest artwork. Yeah. The people who are some of my personal heroes in terms of artists, people like Ellen Durkin, people like Elizabeth Brim. These are both women who had to fight tooth and nail to get taken seriously. Yep. And some of the artists that are really pushing our understanding of what blacksmithing as an art form can be, and they're making work having to do with the identities that they've had to live with. Elizabeth Brim does these incredible she's known for these metal cushions that look really exquisite and have look like very soft in fabric, but obviously they're made of steel, so they're hard, and has some incredible, if you read about her work, it's about her experience with sexual assault. absolutely incredible stuff, really powerful. Ellen Durkin, another one of my heroes, she makes a lot of her work is around restrictive women's fashion. So she makes metal corsets and hoop skirts and cage skirts, and has some absolutely exquisite work. Again, one of these things, if you're making you live in the world with a different experience than the other, who's primarily dominating this field is white men. So it's kind of this thing of like, you're now seeing this cool new aspect. This art is getting pushed to its limit, and I hope is going to continue getting pushed to its limit by disabled people, by queer people, by people of color, and that's really a big part of what I'm very passionate about, making the craft more inclusive, because I want to see what's going to happen. I want to see what cool art people are going to make. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of that.
A different mindset is always good to see. You can't always have the same things and expect different results.
Absolutely.
Always a different perspective. I think, like, if you always see life as it is, as one perspective, well, you're just like going in a hole.
Yeah.
And it's just not good for you and not good for anything else.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, you have to meet different people. You have to meet, like, people that were here before, people that are like underrepresented, to understand more about life.
Right, and it also builds so much compassion for your fellow people. I feel like if I feel like so much like bigotry in the world isn't actually, based in real hatred. I think it's based in a misunderstanding. If you know trans people, if you know disabled people, you're going to have more compassion for them, right?
Exactly.
And so being able to have more people around you. I remember there was one person in my residency, I don't think we'd ever, even start to be friends, but we ended up making a close friendship, who, he was just some, libertarian guy from rural Tennessee. I'm not going to use his name because I don't want to anything, but we have almost opposite political ideology, and we really started chatting, just like us being around each other. Society of Inclusive Blacksmiths are the reason why we're in the same room together. He comes in, he says, I don't understand a lot of this inclusivity. I don't understand a lot of our a lot of this things, but I want to learn. I'm here and I'm ready to learn, and I want your patience, but I really want to be here and learn from y'all.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot, he learned a lot. I found out in talking to him that we have these, I thought our politics are so different, but it ended up, that we had a lot more in common than we had different, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
He, his views stem from a mistrust of how, society and the government has treated him, and there's where my views stem from too, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of this thing of finding out, there's a bug on my glasses.
Trying to find a good spot.
Yeah, who wants to be at the front row of the Whispers of the Void podcast?
I guess so.
Yeah. Anyways, so it's just a really cool opportunity where we get to learn about that. A lot more of our politics were a lot similar to each other, and just being around each other, learning. I think I challenged his assumptions, he challenged mine, and I found out that he was using the words that were what was taught to him, and what was I it was very cool to kind of wow, I never thought I'd be friends with someone like this. Obviously, and a lot of and I found it was very interesting talking to him, right? Because it's this thing of he would tell all these Confederate stories. Yeah. And I actually talked to him. I was because I talked to him about it. I was so are you really interested in the history of this area that we're in? This is in North Carolina, right? And he says, well, because I'm actually very passionate about the history of the Appalachian region. Yep. I think some of the really incredible it was kind of the birthplace of American unions, which is hugely important to me, right? As as a craftsperson, I'm a welder, right? Yep. And I'm sure you can relate as well, maybe. And so I was just trying to see where he's coming from, and it was this interesting thing that happened where he was oh no, I'm not actually that interested in that stuff. I just I really like blacksmithing, and most people don't want to talk about blacksmithing where I'm at. They want to talk about TV and this stuff, and I just don't really have anyone who relates to me. Yeah. And so I was a lot of my, that's kind of an example of my assumptions being challenged of like, oh, you are interested in Confederate history because of, what that stands for, when really he was just using it as a topic of conversation to relate to people. And that's a fundamentally human trait.
It's incredible to talk to you. I know that as a fellow tradesperson, it is hard nowadays. You look at the numbers. We are losing the skills across the board. And like blacksmithing, really when you look at it, vocational schools carry only so much. They do carry welding, but to the degree that blacksmithing is. You talk about your foundation and stuff that helps inclusive blacksmiths. Is there any in the New England area, any schools or anything else that people can kind of go to that can learn the trade and look to further their trade?
I would love to talk about that. So my blacksmithing that you're seeing here is primarily my artwork. And I'm a person, I've been an artist all my life. I have found out throughout my life that for me, I need to separate my art from how I make money. So, and I'm very, very lucky that I've figured out, I have this really awesome place where primarily how I make money is not actually through selling my stuff. I do this mostly to get my art out there in the world so people can actually hold it, enjoy it, use it, right? But
there's something that you can't beat with something that you can hold in your hands.
Absolutely.
And physically use and see and show. It's amazing.
So primarily how I make my money is I teach classes out of both welding and blacksmithing classes out of a nonprofit in Boston, Massachusetts called Artisans Asylum. We are a kind of where I'm an instructor, a volunteer. I also sit on the board of directors there.
Nice.
And we are a 2,500 square foot, or sorry, 1,000 square foot maker space in, right in the Alston neighborhood. We have all sorts of different, facilities. It's a really awesome place. So we have our metal shop where we have our forge. We have our welding sort of classes that we teach there. We also have some really awesome equipment that really, it's a really cool place because it has people at all different skill levels, at all different levels of creation, right? We have people who are doing this as hobbyists. We have people who are, have a small business out of there. We have people who are, taking freelance work and using those facilities for that. And so in our metal shop, we also have, in addition to that, some really high-tech, cool equipment that would be inaccessible outside of like a makerspace sort of environment, right? Where it's like, communal shared tools that we go into. So we have a CNC plasma cutter.
Yeah, that was going to say the plasma cutters.
Yeah, as well as a
make life a little easier.
In-house powder coating setup.
Can you explain what a CNC, as far as like technology goes nowadays, it's a very underappreciated piece of equipment because at being a blacksmith, as you know, you're either having the forge that to get something solid in the one piece is tough. So
a CNC plasma cutter, CNC stands for computer numeric controlled. Essentially what it is a kind of like a 3D printer or a laser cutter, what people are more familiar with, where it has 2 motors on like an axis and is able to move a plasma cutting torch around a table. What this does is it's able to, I'm able to, put in a DXF or some sort of vector file onto a computer, and this machine will cut it out of sheet metal for me, which is really incredible. One of the cool things about having all these different, blacksmithing is a very old technology. Having both old and new technology together is that we're able to kind of combine them in weird ways. So a lot of the things I'm doing with that tool are, cutting out blanks for tools like tongs that I want to make a lot of quickly. So I get a lot of the rough shapes in, and then I'm able to refine those on the forge. So it's really, really cool to have a place like Artisans Asylum where we're able to, have so many different types of people making so many different things, and combining both old and new technologies to make new, creative, awesome stuff. If I can talk a little bit about Artisans Asylum, I'd love to share more. So as I said, it's a big makerspace in the Alston neighborhood of Boston. We do have a metal shop. We also have 14 other shops there that are very, very well equipped. We have I think it's the largest public access wood shop on the East Coast. We have, the electronics and robotics. We have 3D printing, laser cutting, jewelry, fiber arts. The stuff kind of goes on and on. It's a really, really cool spot because you're able to, have all these different creatives all in the same spot. Not just artists, but also engineers. Also,
architects?
Yeah, you're able to have engineers, designers, artists, hobbyists, like all these different people who are like craftspeople, all in one spot, all doing awesome creative things. And it's kind of one of those. I describe it as a place where you can't really get creative block. Because you'll just walk around to another shop if you start to get it, and you see people doing other stuff completely different to you, and it might make you rethink the way you're doing things.
Yeah.
And it might make you see your work from a fresh new perspective. It's a really, really awesome resource. I teach classes out of there and classes are happening in all the shops I mentioned. And it's a really cool place. So many of these tools are, have such a high barrier to entry. If I were to buy them as an individual, Artisans has like a membership model where people are able to pay a monthly membership and come use these tools that are way out of most individuals' price range, right? Like, I don't know many people who can just buy a CNC plasma cutter and, a full, MIG TIG welding setup. And that's just one shop.
Yeah.
We're not even trying to touch like laser cutters, 3D printers, band saws, table saws, right? So it's really cool to have a place to have so many creatives all in one spot, able to pool their resources and make some awesome things. We also, the other way that people get access to the space is through our volunteer programs. We try to make the space, financially accessible as well. So if you can't necessarily pay for the membership, there are a lot of volunteer opportunities, which is really cool.
Scraps, that's fantastic. I got one more question for you.
Absolutely.
What is something that you are striving to create that you may not have created yet?
That's a really good one. I think that I'm going to give a little bit of a unconventional answer here, and talk about, I think what I'm striving to create long term is a lasting community of people who can, pass along these skills, and who can, include everyone who wants to be able to try this out. I want a place where everyone feels welcome to kind of come in, learn new skills, apply new skills, and pass those skills on. And I think that's what I'm creating, not just with Artisans, not just with Society of Inclusive Blacksmiths, but everywhere I go to travel and teach is an ongoing project, not only of mine, but of, the entire community who's trying to do those things and pass these skills along.
Absolutely. Well, Scraps, from one tradesperson to another, I wish you the best of luck in your career. I hope for your longevity. I hope you sell lots of stuff.
Thank you so much.
Good luck with expanding and teaching your trade going forward.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks to you.
We are back. We are continuing our interviews here at RPM Fest. We have another vendor interview. We're here with Lewis from Strongfold Arts. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. This is my first time here, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so how did you hear about RPM Fest?
So Hope.
Hope, yeah?
I was actually vending at...
Shout out Leather Pixie.
Yeah, Leather Pixie, absolutely. I was vending at a holiday fest in Lowell, and she stopped by my booth, gave me her card, says, you need to come to RPM. And I didn't think about it for months.
Really?
And then I was like, you know what? Why not? And then I looked it up. I was like, that's right in my backyard. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So...
Local to the area.
And here it is.
You can't beat it, honestly.
No, not at all.
It's a fantastic spot. We were just talking a little bit off the cuff about how the diversity is out here.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
It's incredible, the different types of vendors and different types of things. Like we just talked to Scraps, who's a blacksmith. Now we have a metalsmith here. Are the trades different a little bit, or are they roughly the same?
They're roughly the same. They borrow a lot from each other. I used to be a blacksmith, and I used to do armor as well. So, for fantasy and for reenactment and so forth. The trades are very similar. However, blacksmithing is harder. It's on your body. And as you get older, I'm like, no, I'm done. So
Yeah.
I picked up silversmithing
Mhm.
and just went from there. And it's been a hell of a labor of love, especially as an art historian, as an experimental archaeologist. And it's a good thing to do, especially when colleges don't pay well to teach.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, as far as you learning your craft and your trade, how did that go about? How were you able to find somebody to be able to learn and gain knowledge from?
I took a seminar, of all things, when I lived in Ireland for 2 years in the 90s, and I took a seminar from a gentleman named Brian Clark, who was an incredible historic goldsmith. And it was just 6 hours of goldsmithing. And it was lots of fun. It stayed in my mind for a long time, especially after I went back to working for the corporate sector. And I left that, and I started really getting back into doing the art aspect. And it stuck with me, and I just began to create again. And I went from there. From there, I just took those little skills, and I grew them myself. Built up a niche and just, rolled with it.
Is there anything in particular when you're crafting your art that you look for, sort of maybe like a signature or maybe an image or a construct that you're trying to capture?
So, because I do a lot of stuff that's based on historical items, I look for mistakes actually in pieces. I look for things that tell you that this was handmade, hand forged, hand wrought. Those little aspects that tell you this was a person who made this. I mean, even the most beautiful jewelry from the Middle Ages or from the Iron Age or Bronze Age still has that little human element.
Yeah.
And that's what I look for. I look for that little human element that allows me to create in a more organic way. And it helps me connect with the metal, helps me connect with the craft, connect with history, and it just allows me to become a better artist and a better contributor.
So I see on here, and you talked a little bit about it, about historic crafts. Is there a era of history that you gravitate towards?
Norse and Iron Age Celtic, for sure. Those were my loves. Norse is what I did first. It was good to learn with. There's a lot of aspects to silver forging Norse crafts that can be then carried on to other cultures, and from there I just began to branch out. Celtic art was really my first love, and it's what I went to college for, is what I taught. It's the archaeological sites that I worked on were all Celtic. So taking those first steps from Norse and going then back to Celtic was a full circle.
Yeah.
And it felt fantastic to get back to that.
Is there a certain type of weave pattern, anything that you see, how they used to make things that is like an instant, like, oh yeah, that's Celtic?
The hammer strokes. Celtic art comes from a lot of places, because Celts were not a people, they were more of a culture. So different tribes had different aspects to the way they presented what was known as Celtic art. But there's always that human element, that little scratch, that little hammer stroke, that indent that shouldn't be there, tells you that a human, an actual person wrought this and brought it from the ground up. And it just, again, it's a hell of a connection.
Yeah. So RPM Fest, it's your first time.
Yep.
How have you enjoyed it so far?
Love it. My wife and I grew up, this was our musical genre, from teenager to our 20s and so forth. and being able to come here and enjoy it without the kids.
Yeah.
Because we got, you know.
Oh, no, have you seen the kids in the pit?
I know.
It's
So
crazy.
the funny thing is our teenagers are not into metal.
Yeah.
And we brought them up around it, but they're not into it, and that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
But coming to this together, you know, as an adult couple, with now our kids being older, has really made it better for us, made us enjoy it better, made us really relate to our musical past.
Yeah.
You know? And this is the area where she grew up in. So it's a homecoming for her.
Coming back to your roots.
It's been great. It really has.
What bands did you guys gravitate towards?
Prong, Leatherlung.
Yes. Yes.
Glacier Today.
Yeah.
Was like a summoning.
Yeah.
They were amazing. No vocals, just raw music, raw power.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Right now we have Smothered Sun playing in the background, and as you noted, all wearing ties.
All wearing ties.
All dressed up. I remember of like a band that really gets. We had a couple like Castle Rat.
Yeah.
They were all dressed up medieval style.
Yep.
But, you know, one guy was a witch doctor, old school.
Yep.
I mean, it's really cool. I saw somebody earlier with a Ukili Dukili. Do you know that band?
Which one?
Ukili Dukili.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
oh,
Ned
man.
Flanders and
Yeah.
metal band. Dude. It's funny. It's funny some of the times, like the get-ups and people that.
Right.
That
Oh
are
my
so
God.
nice.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to any other events tonight? We have wrestling. There's a premiere.
I mean,
of
wrestling's-
a great horror movie tonight.
See, the horror movie I may actually have to go see. I mean, wrestling's right across the street from our booth, so I think that's going to have to definitely happen no matter what. But the movie's an attractor. My wife doesn't do the horror movies, and that's fine. So, you know, I mean, I'll see what she likes to she'll like to look at. You know, what she'll like to enjoy later on. So, yep.
Yeah. As a metalsmith designer, historical arts, fine arts. I mean, I'm blown away by all this stuff. Honestly, 'cause
There's
it's
so
such
much here.
It's such a hard craft.
Yeah.
As far as metals go, is there a certain type of metal that you may not have mastered yet that you want to eventually make something out of?
Gold.
Why not?
Why not? I mean, so gold.
What's the problem with gold? Is it just
so
like,
gold? It is not a problem with it. Well, the main problem is expense.
Yes.
You know, when it's $2,500 an ounce.
That's tough.
You know,
Tough
I mean,
swing.
silver's $30. That's expensive enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I started working with silver when it was $9 an ounce, and it's $30 an ounce now, and I'm like, damn. You know, I need to make a living here. But I mix gold and silver together all the time. If I'm making like engagement rings and so forth for people, I make electrum. Everybody thinks that's a fantasy metal, but it's actually a metal that occurred in the earth naturally, a natural alloy of gold and silver. So I make some in my studio, and it works like a frickin' dream. It's an amazing metal to work with. I wish I could work with it more because, you know, it's amazing, but it's just the expense is insane.
One last question for you.
Yep.
I think about all of the fantasy stuff, the artistry. I think about a lot of the movies. I instantly think, I go back to like Lord of the Rings or like Mithril.
The best, absolutely.
Is there something from literature, a movie, or something that you, as someone who appreciates the historical aspects, really look at and just go, oh man, that would be awesome?
I mean, the one thing that I've always wanted to make was the helm of Turin Turambar.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, every time that I envision that helmet and how his life was all about just darkness and misfortune, you know, and all the while his father was kept enslaved by Morgoth.
Yeah.
You know, that helm means something. There's a depth to it, there's a melancholy to it, and there's a strength that really was not equaled even later on, even through Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, or what have you. You know, the early stuff of the First Age, that's where the meat of Tolkien's work is.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that helm, if I could ever make it, I absolutely would.
I'm looking forward to I read the Silmarillion. They have the movie coming out.
Yep.
We all know it's not going to be the same. That
we know that
book is tough to read.
It's tough. It's tough to make. You can't even envision it. A lot of people have different aspects of how they're going to envision the Silmarillion. I look forward still to see how they do it.
Yeah.
Because it's all about interpretation. Just like what all the makers here, it's all about how they interpret their craft, they interpret their art, their medium. All the musicians here, how they interpret their art.
So I lied. I got one last. This is the last question I got for you. Is there any vendor out here at RPM Fest that has impressed you the most?
Impressed me the most?
As far as
maybe
their knowledge of their craft or anything
honestly,
like that.
I have to tell you that Eli, he's an illustrator in Vendors Row, and his illustrations are evocative, dark, foreboding. They grab you, and they're absolutely incredible. And then, of course, as a metalsmith, Scraps is. I have a lot of respect for what they do.
Absolutely,
a lot of respect for what they do.
Absolutely, Scraps is top notch.
Yeah, for sure,
top notch. Awesome. Well, hey, Lewis, I appreciate you taking the time, man. We'll let you get back to it. Keep enjoying RPM Fest.
Will do. You guys, thank you so much.
Yes.
Take care of yourselves, all right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lewis.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, guys, we are continuing our RPM Fest interviews. We are here with Dan. He's actually just attending RPM Fest.
Yeah.
How you doing, Dan?
Doing all right. Just came out here this morning, get breakfast, saw a sign. I was like, what's that? And Phil's like, you want to get on a podcast? And my, tired mind just like, what's happening? What is this about?
I mean, that's what I saw this morning. I was like, you want to ask for a podcast? Oh, you're tired. Okay, let's do it later when you will be more inebriated.
Yeah. More
in shape.
Yeah.
With a lot of alcohol.
Yeah, because I needed food, and I wanted to do the yoga.
Yeah.
Get awake, figure out what my day's gonna look like.
It's been a long couple days.
How was the yoga this morning?
It was good. Didn't do like the group thing like we did yesterday though.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Nice.
They do the thing where you're on one foot and holding hands. I'm trying to not fall over.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Some new moves as well.
We need to get balance with all that beer, all that food, and all that music. We need to have some, a little bit of sports and a little bit of yoga in the morning.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely helps wake you up, get stretched out. Noticed my back was stiff, so it was good.
That's perfect.
Nothing better than yoga to get you going in the morning.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So Dan, you were telling me you've been to a couple of RPM Fests.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I moved here at the beginning of the pandemic. I've been kind of around the country a bit.
Yeah.
I wanted to try and figure out like the local metal scene around here, try and get involved more, and RPM Fest came up, so I'm like, let's go check that out, and brought my friend with me who likes metal, but he's not really a metalhead. Yeah. It was funny, like the one time he was looking at pictures, like, I don't know, these people look scary, and I'm just like, yeah. And then we were hanging out at the tents like a couple years back. He's like, that guy just looks scary to me. I'm like, dude, they're metalheads. We're all just big nerds.
Yeah,
and just have tattoos and stuff and dark imagery. But
it's just a visual.
So
So you've been around the country. Have you been to other festivals?
I've been to Maryland Death Fest for only like one night because I was living in Virginia at that point, D.C. area. 2019, before I came here, and there's no hotels or anything, so I still had to drive to Fredericksburg at like 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
But I got to see a Deicide and Borknagar, which I used to listen to back in college.
Yep.
I know I got to see Phil Anselmo's black metal band.
Ooh, you mean Scour?
I forget the
Which one's that one?
Scour.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's Scour.
Yeah.
Scour are also Phil Anselmo and the Illegals, which is more like avant-garde in a way, groovy, a bit black. Like all those kinds of things.
Right. Yeah. It was just I saw the guy and I'm like, his voice sounds familiar. He looks familiar. Then I actually ran to people I knew in Omaha.
Yeah.
There, and they're like, oh yeah, that's actually Phil Anselmo from Pantera. I'm like, huh.
Phil Anselmo got this career, man. It's like
he
started with Pantera and then with Superjoint Ritual, and then Down, and also like Scour now.
Right.
Well, Scour is more like it's EP black metal. Like they are just doing EPs over EPs. No album because they're like, yeah, that's a pain in the ass to make, so let's just do EPs.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, that's the kind of thing I was seeing from like Glenn Fricker.
Yeah.
Spectrum Music Group.
Glenn Fricker.
Yeah, he's talked about like it's better just to make singles and pump them out because that's kind of the new way we're listening to music. I mean, I'm guilty of that, especially with metal. There's so many bands, old bands, new bands. Like I can't remember.
To be fair, like I agree at some point, but I still love having albums. But for sure, if you're in a band and you cannot like make as many songs as you want, for sure singles and EPs are the way to go. But if you are like overproductive and you're like, those songs are fucking good, let's do an album. Well, don't do fucking singles. Just do a fucking album and that's it.
Right. But there's a lot to it because like it costs a lot of money to do.
Yeah.
But unless you're self-producing, but then that's a huge learning curve. I mean, I'm finding that out firsthand recently. So as I'm trying to record my own music.
Oh, really? What kind of project you trying to do?
I've been taking guitar lessons, and I've always kind of like felt like I lacked in my songwriting. I used to write poetry and read at open mics. Where was I going with this? And so I've been having my guitar teacher help me out with that. And like, I think it was last year or year before, I got back on stage and played one of the songs I made up. Acoustic. It can be played electric if I want to. But it's like I want more songs. Now I want to learn how to write lyrics because it's not quite the same as poetry. And do the vocals. I could do like a dark folk thing. I love Emma Ruth Rundle and Chelsea Wolfe.
Yeah.
So I could do that. And my teacher's like, yeah, do vocal melody with your electric guitar. And at one point I'm just like, I don't know what to do. So I just came up with a riff. He listened to it. He goes, that's what you need to do.
There you go. Wow.
And so, I kind of got inspired by Nine Inch Nails, the downward spiral, the kind of chromaticism he's doing in the beginning with my acoustic guitar. And I just build off of that. And then I got Superior Drummer, so I'm kind of learning drums now, too.
There you go.
On top of learning the music production and recording all this shit. And, so like halfway through, I bring in two, I do dual tracking, so I bring in the guitars, but they come in and, people are like, that's heavy as fuck, and it's only drop D.
There's a lot of newer bands out there since COVID has happened, and even before that, as we were starting to get the technology's getting better.
Yes.
You're able to sort of self-produce, create your own band, music, things like that. Black Magnet's one that comes to mind. Polosov in black metal jazz.
Yeah, it's in Polosov.
In French. Yeah, that's another guy that comes to mind.
Yeah, like we met a couple years ago via Zoom. We met a guy called Etienne Polosov. He's a French guy, French producer. He makes a lot of type of genre, but his project to him is black jazz. Black metal and jazz, and we're not just talking like, if you know a little bit like Shining Nor, they are doing black jazz too. Do you know a little bit Shining?
There's two Shining bands.
Yeah, there's two Shining.
You're talking about the one that's like DSBM?
No, not this one. The other one.
Okay.
The DSBN is the Sweden one, and the Norway one is the black jazz.
Oh, okay, like the Norway one. Don't they have like neon colored album covers? Okay, that's how I know music at this point. It's like, do I know the album cover?
There you go.
That is okay.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. You gotta start somewhere.
Right.
You start somewhere and that's it. But like Shining Nor were doing like, they were using saxophone, and they were doing like, even before that they were doing like the black jazz, they were just doing free jazz.
Gotcha.
And now it's more rock kind of music, but yeah. And to come back with Polosov, he's doing something like, he's really mixing the black metal, like let's say, I don't know, Marduk, or let's say Belphegor or something like this.
I know those bands.
Mixed with, I don't know, Buddy Rich on drums. Let's say, I don't know, every jazz man, Miles Davis. Imagine Miles Davis and Belphegor in the same room. It's weird. It's fucking weird. But I fucking love it.
Yeah. I mean, you have Zeal and Ardor that did like soul and metal kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like soul and black metal. Nowadays, he's more like, he created his own genre in a way, because he's not really doing black metal, but he's still putting some element of it inside the music. Like the last album he released this year is pretty interesting, but it's far from what he did at first. Very far.
Interesting story because I seen Zeal and Ardor twice. Once when they played with Opeth and Mastodon.
Ooh.
And another one, who did they play with? It was at a smaller venue, the Middle East, downstairs in Cambridge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And at one point, it's a more intimate venue, and at one point he stops. He's like, okay, to pull the curtain back, because he has 2 mics there.
Yeah.
He revealed that he has troubles with his scrawls and vocal fry and stuff. So he has one mic that's overdriven, then he has this clean mic.
Exactly.
He just switches between 2. It's that's pretty cool.
It's very cool. Honestly, he just experimenting, and I love Zeal and Ardor for that, and also Etienne Pelozov, and artists that experiment are so good.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's awesome that you're exploring, making your own music and building on that. I don't know if you saw the Rock Shop guys in the beginning that kicked things off over here at the Wicked Ronin stage.
Oh, I might not have. You mean today, right?
Yeah, today. So what it is it's a bunch of kids.
Oh,
it's a bunch of kids. They're just getting their music lessons. They're just getting up there on stage. We talked to them a little bit today. They said that basically their music instructor comes over, tells them what they're going to play. They have to learn it that day. And then they have to go up there and they have to showcase their stuff.
That's cool.
Honestly, they do a really, really good job. It's really awesome. The more people that can learn and play and love the music, the better.
Oh yeah, definitely. I kind of feel sad I missed that now.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty neat, But hey, if you come next year, you'll see them. They play every year.
All right, I'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of reminds me when I was living in Omaha, Nebraska. Told you I've been all over the place.
Yeah.
I was trying to start a musical project with a friend, and we got a drummer who's a beginning drummer, and he liked going to metal shows, but when he plays guitar, it's always kind of soft rock, smooth rock kind of stuff. But that was him putting himself out there, and just he's a beginner. I wasn't expecting a lot, and kind of just reminds me of that a little bit.
As far as all the places you've been, what's one of the coolest scenes, maybe the coolest venues you went to in your long longevity as a metalhead?
Shit. I would say Omaha, Nebraska has a surprising cool little metal scene. It can get kind of be a little small, a little cliquey at times, but they have some pretty cool local music scene there. That's how I made a lot of friends. Just going to the guitar shop, and the kid there whose name is Cooper, just it's hey, you gonna go to my show? He was in Orpheus at the time. Now he's in Gorgatron, which are located in North Dakota. They have actually been on Metal Sucks for their music video.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
nice.
they've been making waves, and they toured internationally apparently.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Then my friend who has the horror movie podcast, he's in a band called Ungoliant, and the other guy he does the podcast with is in a band called Keeper of Innsmouth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your buddy also does a horror podcast. You got a little shameless plug for them?
Yep, Horror Flicks and Music Mix. They're on Spotify. You can find them on the social medias, Instagram. I believe they're on TikTok, Facebook. I'm on actually 2 episodes. One was actually a conversation like we're doing now, but over Google Call. The other one, I actually had to record, because I had too many people that want to talk about The Shining with them.
Yeah, there you go.
And I focused on the soundtrack, because I'm like, what hasn't been said about The Shining? It was a 2-parter episode. So I had to record it. And it was interesting because, okay, I'm just getting to recording. Now I'm going to do this with a DAW. And I don't realize how often I say, especially when I'm talking to myself.
Yeah, that's why I don't listen to our own podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that drives me nuts.
Yeah, and you don't like the sound of your own voice.
No,
I'm like, my voice sounds deep. Then I hear my voice, I'm like, that reminds me.
Why do I sound like a mouse?
Exactly. In college, I had a roommate and a good friend who was doing he was in communications. He had to make a radio show, a little storyline. He's like, I chose your voice because it sounds so submissive, and I'm like, thanks. Thank you for that. I'm doing a private, World War II, they're on an island to get attacked kind of stuff.
It sounds so submissive.
Oh, no.
My God.
It's thank you.
Babies are dumb.
Oh, my God.
But no, it was interesting because I wanted to watch the movie first. I listened to the soundtrack on Spotify a few times.
Yep.
Dustin, he was the other guy he was listening to on vinyl, but it was different than what you got on Spotify because somebody made a playlist. They don't have everything on the official vinyl. And a lot of the music there is actually taken from other albums. I recognize the music. It was actually from The Exorcist. years
Okay.
before. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I was
that's
talking about
nice.
that. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, it's pretty cool.
So between The Shining and Doctor Sleep, which one has the
I
better?
have not seen Dr. Sleep yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm bad with keeping up with movies
Who
and
has
shows.
which horror movie has the best soundtrack?
Best soundtrack. Oh shit. My instincts say John Carpenter's The Thing, but that's also one of my favorite movies.
That's
so.
one of mine too.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually Phil got me a Event Horizon.
Oh, nice.
VHS over there from Analog Assault.
Nice. I haven't watched that in forever. I just remember it was like it had cool moments, but it's like wasn't everything I wanted.
Yeah.
But I know like it kind of didn't get its wings cut a bit, and they lost a lot of extra original footage. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Still, as far as like, it was my first like true horror movie.
Oh, okay.
And I gotta tell you, like I've said this before. As a first timer watching that movie as your first horror movie.
How old were you?
I was like 9.
Jesus Christ.
That's not good.
Yeah.
No, that fucked me up.
Yeah.
It's like, that was nuts, dude.
Oh yeah, they talk about that in the podcast. Like, Dustin's like, yeah, I was like 5 or 8 when I saw this. I shouldn't have seen this.
Oh, absolutely. That was like It, the original It. I saw that Wicked Young. That messed me up. Because I still I still didn't get like the full idea of what was happening.
Right.
Like the whole story and everything behind it was like a loose. I just saw a fucking clown.
Right.
Doing crazy shit.
Right.
And eating kids, and that was wild. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up fairly sheltered. Especially mom was really religious. Dad, he was very conservative, but still let me get away with some things. But like, yeah, growing up, it was more like Twilight Zone, DC horror, Picturing Black Lagoon, the old 50s stuff, Then, like, when I got older, my dad's like, you're 12, I think you can handle this, and showed me the original Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Technicolor with green zombies. I remember when they ate people, he turns like, I'm sorry, I forgot about that part. I go, no, it makes it freakier.
Yeah.
Had trouble sleeping for, like, weeks afterwards, and I asked for more horror movies. So
There you
I ended
go.
up watching Silver Bullet, Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And because of nudity, he skipped parts of it, and I didn't find out about the
Pet
D
Sematary.
part. I watched that later on, but like after like Evil Dead, I started like getting used to it, and he also got me my first dirt bike. Was getting me into roller coasters. I finally got the first Resident Evil game on the GameCube, the remake.
There you go.
So
Yeah,
I was just
big
like
thrill
all about
seeker.
horror, and thrills at that point.
Speaking of thrills, as far as metal goes, what was your gateway metal band?
Oh shit. Gateway metal band.
For those that you guys can't see, but he's wearing a decapitated shirt.
Yes,
and
one of
a
my
tour
favorites.
shirt. So you got to imagine that. I'm gonna take a wild guess. I'm gonna say Black Sabbath.
That actually didn't come till later. Again, the upbringing stuff. My dad was less strict, so like my mom was definitely against like a lot of rock music, even like Christian rock. She's like, I can't see Jesus up there rocking out, and so like I had friends introduce me to Creed when I was like 11 or 12. Then later on, I had the Godzilla soundtrack for the crappy '98 movie.
There you go.
And Rage Against the Machine was on there, and I was like, Dad, I like that. So I ended up getting their first album when I was like 12.
Ghost of Tom Joad.
Wow.
No, their first album.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but it has the I didn't realize it was a real picture, but it has the monk that was self-immolation.
He lit himself on fire.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a real picture until
That's true.
later
Yeah,
on.
he actually lit himself on fire.
Yeah.
As a show of protest.
Exactly. But yeah, so I was like getting to that. Linkin Park was a big one. I liked Slipknot, but had trouble getting the albums for obvious reasons. Ouija boards and shit on there.
Yep.
My dad's like, oh, you like Korn? So he ended up getting me like almost all the albums.
That's a good one.
Wow.
Yeah. And then like I wanted to get heavier, but it was hard for me to get past like the harshness and the vocals initially. But I still like experimented with like liquid metal on XM radio on the satellite TV. My dad unlocked it for me. He's like, yeah, go for it. But yeah, it was with the internet, and when I got to college, when I started learning more about it, getting into music more, and yeah, like it's been so long, I can't remember. Like a big one that for me is Behemoth.
Yes.
Yeah, especially when I was like really questioning religion, seeing kind of a
little more pronunciation, the voice, the harshness isn't quite there.
Yeah, and just his music vibe with me, especially I was questioning a lot of things, so it's okay, it's still uncomfortable, but I know it shouldn't, so I'm just gonna like start getting into that.
He went straight from Behemoth to Burzum.
No, but I mean, I did get a friend get me to Ozzy Osbourne. My dad's like, I think that's okay, and he used to listen to the Black Sabbath album, the original one, when he was in the Marine Corps. So he ended up getting that on CD, so I stole it from him.
That was like their theme song.
Right.
Original album, you know what I mean?
Right. It was just funny because I was listening to it on my stereo one time, sound blasting, and it was NIB.
Yeah.
And I don't really listen to the lyrics, but then I heard the line, "My name is Lucifer, please take my hand." I went, "Oh shit." Now I just hear my mom go, "I don't like the lyrics to that song.
I don't like it."
Oh my god, like, okay, so we are talking about Behemoth and all. You have to make your mom listen to black metal, which is like black metal.
Skillet.
We're talking about no, actually, a Skillet or just like Christian rock.
Right.
That's all they
Creed,
are.
yeah.
Right.
Or Demon
Saint
Hunter.
Asonia.
Demon Hunter. If you go like
Yes,
in the
I actually
metalcore,
like some
Demon
of them,
Hunter
yeah.
is Christian as
Yeah,
fuck.
and I also liked As I Lay Dying before.
As I Lay Dying
yeah,
too,
like
the
I was
old.
getting, yeah,
The old one
yeah.
is very Christian
like I just,
in a way.
Yeah, like I was just kind of jumping into everything metalcore.
Yeah.
Dimmu Borgir was another one.
See,
that I
I'm
got
very
into a little
biased.
bit.
I keep God out of my metal. That's just me. I'm not gonna yucky or yum. You know what I mean?
Honestly, like I discover things. Do I listen to those kind of metal? Not really. Those band, I mean, I don't. To be fair, like I've listened to Demon Hunter, but when I learned they were like Christian, I was like, I don't know. Like for me, like you can talk about politics. Music is politics sometimes. Music is religion sometimes,
Yeah.
but not too much. Just a little bit. Just a little.
You gotta
but
sprinkle
not for
that
me.
shit in there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a funnel cake. You know, powdered sugar's good, but you can't just load that fucker up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
All right. Well, luckily with a lot of that kind of music, nobody can understand the lyrics, so I still end up playing Behemoth in front of my mom, blasting
go.
loud. Yeah. Yeah. Like I bought the
Yeah.
Satanist, and it's like she can't read that. You know, if she enters my room.
It's a
Yeah.
god.
Then I got into Triptychon, and I had to face down because it's got Yeager
Yeah.
artwork on there, and then she flipped it over. It's like, ew, and it's got all kinds of overtly sexual stuff on there. I'm like, told you didn't want to see that. I think she kind of like gave up after a while.
At least you didn't have like the original Cannibal Corpse CDs just lying around. Like, oh
I remember when
my
I was
God.
a teenager, I ran into that. It's like, should I be looking at this? And there's like kind of like the alien thing, but it was coming out of her vagina and her mouth. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's gross, you know. And I'm fascinated by it, but didn't get into Cannibal Corpse till a lot later.
Yeah.
You know, I had a friend that, and when I went to community college from high school, who was into metal, and he's like, Cannibal Corpse sounds like what everybody thinks of death metal. They're not that great. And then later I'm like,
man.
no, they're awesome. And I've seen them 2 times, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Corpse
That's
is
crazy.
awesome.
Well, hey Dan, thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah,
It's been
no
a
problem.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Really cool listening to your journey. Real quick here for RPM Fest. You've been here all weekend.
Yep.
What's your favorite band so far?
Favorite band? Oh shit. I think it was Maidenhead.
Yes.
Yeah.
We interviewed them yesterday. They're awesome.
Yeah, like I just
big shout out to Maidenhead.
Yeah. I just stepped out of the showers and I could hear them starting up, and I was like, all right, I gotta sit for this one.
Hey, shout out to Bella. That is like those vocals are fucking hard.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that is sick. The shit that she does.
Oh yeah. And there's another power band I saw. Guy had tattoos all over his head.
Yeah.
What was the name of that band?
Oh, good question.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
stuck in this tent for a while.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, it's been tough for me a little bit.
I just was like, he's like almost like Rob Halford, Bruce Dickinson
Yeah,
level
yeah.
vocals there. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, Dan, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah,
It's
no
been
problem.
awesome.
No problem. I'll look for this.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, no problem. And I'll look for this episode on Spotify.
Perfect.
All right, guys, we are continuing our RPM interviews here. We actually have all of Scapel with us. How's
Let's
it going,
go.
guys?
Let's go.
It's we have Taylor, Manny, Matt, and Chip.
Let's go.
Dude.
We're feeling good, man.
I'm so they came to us. It's the first time.
It's the first time they came to us.
First
Like,
time.
They were attracted by the void.
They saw the black tent and they said, "Oh my!"
They saw someone that doesn't talk like anyone else, like me. I'm just a Canadian out in Massachusetts. They were like, "Oh, you know what? Let's take our Scalpel to him and
Fuck
just
yeah.
just do an operation to him. He's different."
You guys played today. Have you guys been here all weekend?
So me and Matt showed up yesterday, and we saw a bunch of fucking awesome bands. Prong was incredible. We saw Prong. We saw Bongzilla. We saw fucking Leatherlung. Can I swear on this podcast?
Go for it.
All right, cool. But yeah, it was incredible. And then the rest of the boys came this morning. Yeah.
Ooh,
That's awesome.
perfect.
So, did you guys have anything else lined up for tomorrow? You got another show you got to go to, or is there anything else?
We're Manny's living in Tennessee right now, and the rest of us boys
Okay.
we live up in New England, between Providence and Boston.
Yep.
Bridgewater area, and so we don't get together too often. But we've been a band for this coming month gonna be 16 years. 16 years. We've been a band since we were young men, and we got to get it together and fucking get it out once in a while, So we're hoping that maybe we can do this again next year or be a part of RPM. It's such a fucking awesome festival, man. We're blessed to be able to be a part of it.
Yeah, is this your first time at RPM? All you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's our first time, man.
I gotta tell you, it's fucking awesome, this place. The community, the bands that they get. I love the diversity across between vendors, the people, the acts. We got fucking wrestling. Yeah. We saw the kaiju wrestling last night.
Yeah.
Shout out Campbell Soup.
Shout out Campbell Soup.
Oh, I saw that.
Shout out a pickle.
I saw that. And then get the kids involved too. The rock shop thing, that was super cool.
We talked to those guys today.
Those guys are killing it, man.
I heard
Killing
them
it.
playing Judas Priest.
They did?
That was blowing my mind. I was like, this sounds awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like they did Jawbreaker and they did Sentinel, and I was just like, damn.
So funny enough, what they said is that their music teacher basically tells them the day of what they're gonna play, and then they have to fucking learn it on the call there. Yeah.
It's intense.
They said they split them up into 2 different bands, so each band gets their own set, and they all go up there.
Hey, learn these 5 Judas Priest solos for this afternoon, no problem.
I mean, think about it. Like, we are more in metal, but in the jazz community, that's how it works. Like, oh, there's a gig now. Yeah. Okay, learn the song on the spot.
On the day.
Yeah, exactly. Sight reading, man.
Shit, they're sight reading Judas Priest?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm sure
it's pretty crazy.
Should I fucking quit?
3 out of 4 of us are like private instrument teachers or have been in our past, and we had like a show coming up. I would need like 3 months of preparation with like a student in order to feel comfortable calling myself their teacher. So the fact that's really impressive.
Yeah, wow. I didn't realize that.
It is. It's incredible, and it's just good to see that there are kids getting back into it and continuing the genres and continuing to learn instruments and keep this whole thing rolling. But let's talk a little bit about you guys. 16 years. That's a long time. I'm sure you guys have toured to some really good places. Do you have a particular tour that you love the most that you guys have been a part of?
There's 2 that come to mind. Yeah. I mean, we did a really good East Coast tour where we were just like, oh, hello. We did an East Coast tour. We were just in the van, just being goblins, and had a lot of really awesome shows, met some great people. We decided to just like crash wherever the whole time and just do it that way, and it was awesome.
It was booked by Rob Horton from Cognitive.
Yeah, which that hat has him right there, yeah.
Rob, yep.
Rob
AJ,
booked us
we're
a
friends
real
with
good
AJ.
tour.
Yeah, we're friends with AJ.
Shout out AJ, shout out Hath.
Shout out Hath, shout out AJ, shout out Rob. Rob
Hell
is the
yeah.
man.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, that was an awesome tour. And then, we also had just like a quick little New England 5-dayer that was it scarred into my fucking brain.
Wow.
Ended up being the inspiration for a lot of the songs.
We were 18. We toured Canada. Quebec. We toured Quebec, and we ended up to Gaspé and back down. So we played Trois Rivières with Waking the Cadaver. And then we went up to Gaspé, which was a punk festival out there.
This motherfucker pinned a scalpel pin to his fucking body, and there was like blood spraying out of him, and he had no idea.
God damn.
They go hard in Gaspé, like they don't fuck around, dude.
Gaspé, they don't fuck around. I'm Gaspésian, technically.
Really?
I'm born and raised New Richmond, out in Gaspésie. Shout out Gaspésie, shout out to C. Honestly, Gaspé, they are so out there.
Love it.
So good.
And then we almost rolled the fucking car on the way back, dodging a moose on the highway. We were playing the Turn Your Lights Off game in New Brunswick. And we're like, oh yeah, like let's turn the lights off and like see who can like go the longest. And then I turn the light back on, and this fucking moose is right in front of our car.
Holy fuck.
In the road, yeah. It was like, fucking moose! And like up on 2 wheels, and the shit's fucking belly was taller. We were in a Jeep. The shit's belly was taller than the passenger window, and we brushed him with the mirror. So anyway, yeah, we've had some fun. Love touring, love recording, love doing it, so.
I mean, that's Canada for you. Moose all the way.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm sure you guys have a lot of inspiration taken from all your walks of life. when you guys are writing new music, what exactly is it that you guys are gravitating towards? I know a lot of people either go horror, they go like their original loves, whether it be Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, things like that, a lot of heavy inspirations, or even just like Terminal Nation's a good example of like they just take the political atmosphere that's going on at the moment, and then they just go in, and then that's pretty much what Stan writes about.
Absolutely, man. I think a lot of our music, we kind of, on the horror aspect especially, we kind of try to write stories with our music. So we have a lot of different songs that usually center around certain characters or like some sort of pivotal character. For instance, we have a trilogy. It's a 3-parter we've written over the course of the last decade or so, called the Woodsman Trilogy, and it's about a serial killer. And eventually, by Woodsman Part 3, he ends up in a geriatric facility, like in a nursing home, and like remembers his old ways and ends up depegulating orderlies, as we say in the song. So it's a lot.
He has a foot fetish.
He's got a foot fetish, yeah. So that's why that is why we ask everyone to throw their socks up on stage when we play.
That's where the sock thing came
That's
from.
where the sock thing came from. And I also don't often wear shoes or socks, so in the past people have told me to put socks on, and so that combined with the Woodsman aura we demand that people throw their dirty socks on stage, because the Woodsman is a strange man, and that's a character that we kind of made. So a lot of it is making the Insect Philosopher, Labors of Loathing. All of our songs are kind of these weird B horror movies.
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you guys got for music coming out, latest album, things like that?
Our latest album was Century in the Boil Pit. We're over here promoting it. We have the CD available, but a lot of people don't use CDs anymore, but we do have them for the novelty's sake. We got a new string of merch, and we also have a Chris Maltasanti Sopranos shout-out hat. Cleaver from the movie Cleaver in Sopranos. We replaced it with a scalpel and a scalpel blade. We got that hat available. We're really trying to push it.
Love it.
Holy
so, we got a lot of merch in support of it, and we're hoping to get in to record a new single in the next year or so, for sure.
You guys got an active Bandcamp.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Scapel Official.
Remember, guys, Bandcamp is always the best way to support any bands.
Absolutely.
Exactly. We all put Bandcamp
anything.
every time. Like every episode we do, always Bandcamp.
I got a good Bandcamp story.
Oh,
so
yes.
after I moved to Tennessee, I was up really late and I was listening to the new album when it came out, and I was like, man, I'm gonna fuck with these guys. So I created a Gmail for this guy named Jorg Bergensen, or it was like a really Scandinavian sounding name. And I wrote them this fucking hate message, like I'm up there like cackling to myself at like 3 a.m, and it was like, it was like your band, the music, like it fucking sucks so bad, and my sister plays the guitar better than you, and like I thought it might be cool, and I started listening to it, and it just crushed my soul how shitty it was, and like all this, it was like a long fucking thing, and so
we all thought it was real.
Yeah, so I waited for the text to roll in the morning, like, oh, this fucking guy like hates our music, and then some of the shit I said, what was it like? I tried to make it sound foreign. Yeah. I tried to make it sound like English was definitely a second language. So there was some it was really authentic looking.
Like some sort of Scandinavian.
Oh, it was awesome, man. And then I waited a couple months or something. I was like, man, you know that fucking guy? Like that was me. Like, it was great, man. It's,
it sounds like that it was super creative, but it almost feels like that happened to you, like in a real life, like someone.
Wow.
Things like that have definitely happened.
That someone wrote like a novel about how much they hate our band. I don't know if that's happened.
Scalpel, but in our lives, you know.
Yeah. What do you
I've
got?
gotten a few of those emails.
So we have wrestling on tonight. There's also the premiere of a nice, really cool independent horror movie going on in the Pavilion. Is there any other bands you guys are looking forward to seeing today?
I mean, we're gonna rip it all. Yeah.
We're gonna rip all that shit. Misery Index, especially. Conforza, those guys have been boys of ours for a long time. We've been playing together for a long time. Going way back to Rocco's in Manchester. Shout out to Rocco's. No longer a venue. Yeah. Matt and Chip?
The Rupert selection played earlier. They were really great. I was really impressed by those guys. They were awesome.
Oh, I'm pumped for Misery Index.
Dude, Misery Index, those guys are fucking insane.
Fucking legends.
Yes. No, I'm stoked for that. Even just the kaiju wrestling last night has got me ready for the wrestling
Campbell
that's going on
soup.
tonight too. But
Yes,
hey,
sir.
appreciate you guys coming over. Appreciate
you,
talking
man.
to you guys.
Thank you.
Check
Yeah.
out Scapel on Bandcamp, and anytime that you guys see them on any bills at your local venues.
Perfect.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, guys, we are continuing our interviews here at RPM Fest. And funny enough, we actually have somebody here who's representing a really great cause, something near and dear to, I imagine, all of our hearts. And he doesn't have any sort of presence here at RPM yet, but after talking to Hope, one of the gracious hosts here and coordinators for RPM Fest, I hope to see that change. We have Solomon with Big Feelings. How are you, man?
Excellent. This has been a fantastic time, and first time back on the East Coast, other than a brief visit to Florida in 20 years. I used to live on Long Island, so this is amazing being back here, honestly.
Explain to us what Big Feelings is, the cause, the goal, the purpose, etc.
Absolutely. So essentially, Big Feelings is a network of artists and people who feel that art inspires and connects us and betters us as people. And we care heavily about mental health in the artist community, and we felt that there's a gap that needs to be bridged between what is considered mental health in the approach of a medical issue and the fact that there is so much that has to deal with your everyday dealings and the community. And we feel that mental health is actually a community issue and that we need to approach it as such, because a strong support structure matters as much as so many other aspects of what benefits our day-to-day life and our mental health.
Wow.
I love it. I love everything about it. So you handed me, when we first met, this really neat little card here. Got a bunch of QR codes. It was actually a festival that you guys did already.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But sort of highlights exactly what they've been doing. So it was Screaming Brain. It was a free 3-day retreat for music, art, and skateboarding.
Yes, sir.
30-plus band skateboarding tournament, camping, food trucks, disc golf. Disc golf, that's a big one.
Yeah,
People love the disc golf. Performing arts, punk rock dog show.
Yes.
Ooh. Art classes, yoga, meditation. Fun run. What's a fun run?
A fun run is not as fun as it sounds like, but all of those determined individuals that's like, we care about our body health and everything. They got up, probably a little hungover, and still went on their run. We had a buddy, Taylor, who kind of led the fun runs, and he's a very, very energetic, motivated individual and whatnot, but it's fun as long as you like running. Otherwise, you might not find it very fun.
That's all. And then a swimming, rock painting workshop, comedy.
Yeah.
Which is, I find, awesome, and personal growth classes, kids area, and more. I got to tell you, Solomon, this is, RPM Fest is very unique in the way that they do things. It's a big community here, very diverse, a lot of lineups and things like that. This sounds like another step onto that, an extension thereof, where you get more into, as you talked about, personal help, the mindset, and real community, and finding stuff in that nature. And I think that it's awesome.
Well, thank you.
Where was this Screaming Brain?
So it was held in Troy, Montana. To give a little bit of a backstory and why I'm actually at RPM. So Sia, who's running the Four Phantom stage over there with my man Boozer, we had an event called Mosh in the Mountains that the Big Feelings didn't start overnight. What actually happened was we had an event called Mosh in the Mountains that was literally a bunch of buddies that got together, rented out a campground, and partied. One person in particular, my boy Jared Phoenix, who is my vice president for Big Feelings, basically invited me from knowing me years before from music stuff, said, "You're in Spokane bands, come on over and party, dude." And I'm just like, hell yeah, let's go. And so I took over a few buddies' bands, and after the first year, Jared's like, "Dude, I don't want to run this shit without you again." And I'm like, I didn't do anything. I showed up and moved some fucking gear, dude. Whatever. Yeah, let's party. And so then we rented out another campground. And then we got offered to use Happy's, which is the oldest bar in the historic registry that had 2 excellent stages, all this stuff. And what the original goal was, party out in the fucking woods with your boys with a bunch of generators and make some noise. But what it turned into was a bigger crowd and more investment of time. And then with COVID putting us off, we dealt with different suicides in our friends group, in a family member of mine, and taking the year off because of COVID. We talked about it, like, what are we doing the other 11 months of the year? Like, this event, everybody says it's their favorite event of the year. They look forward to it, but what are we actually doing to help? And that's what founded Big Feelings, was really that need to do more and to be invested when we see people that are struggling in their day-to-day life, and nobody cuts through the bullshit and just says, hey, you don't need a therapist, you just need a fucking friend today. Like, let's go and do something. And that nature of nurturing our friend group and just being there when the times really are hard for everybody, that's what inspired the whole thing. Screaming Brain, that was a fucking afterthought, man. That was like the thing that we're like, what are we doing? That's what we're doing. But Big Feelings on the day-to-day, all it is a network of people that we want to compile, like a Rolodex. Kids don't even know what that shit is. yeah. We want a fucking Rolodex like it's 1970. But no, we want to compile, and after years of booking and being invested in bands and the projects I've had and dealing with so many bands that were brilliant and just fell apart and never went anywhere, we wanted our involvement in the scene to just be motivators, just to show people you can be positive, you can feel connected to your scene, you can feel connected, or you can be completely outside of that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you need that help, sometimes it's a really hard stretch to go to a therapist, to go to a medical professional and say, I need help. But sometimes it's not that hard to just tell your friend, I've had a really hard day and I'm struggling. And if we as a community let it be known that inside of this organization, inside of this space, we will support you regardless. I mean, we're not going to take you in if you're a piece of shit or a scumbag. We have standards too. That's why we have our ethics and our bylaws. But when it comes down to it, every person can only flourish and benefit if they have the support to do what they truly love and to not worry about the repercussions of living in a horrible capitalist shitty state of existence where we're all fucking broke and miserable. So
I love it. I'm a big fan. I, for one, believe in exactly what you believe, that our friends, our family are our biggest supporters and outlets when it comes to this stuff. A lot of the time, therapy has sort of taken over the mainstream as a default, but in reality, sometimes you just have a hard day, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And even to go further, you see it a lot in metal as a default. You can look at what people talk about, what they sing about, how they dress, how they feel, and a lot of the time it does make them feel better, but that still comes from a place.
Yeah.
You know, that's a place that they harbor, and you know, more often than not, they do need to talk about it. And I mean, Big Feelings, man. That is incredible what you guys are doing.
Thank you very much. I feel like it's so much of it. It's great seeing it over here on this coast and being 3,000 miles from home and seeing that energy that it's some hippie bullshit, and I fucking abide by it. I was raised by hippies. I can't fucking stand them. I'm like, get out of my face. I don't care about my fucking goddamn horoscope. Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But there is energy that we all feel and experience, and the live music atmosphere, that's why so much of Screaming Brain and what we're trying to do has to do with the activities at Screaming Brain this year. It was one of the most difficult, stressful events. I'm not a sound guy. I'm a nobody musician, and I ran sound for 12 different artists that day. I fucking lost my mind. Shit was insane, but it was one of the most brilliant learning experiences, and that energy, everybody who was there and felt it, regardless of their preference in music or art or what they hold close to, like their interests, we had townspeople coming up saying, you guys respect this place more than any other group here. You guys all are so kind and caring, and hearing that from people who don't want to hear blast beats and Satan is fucking great. It really is, because I like extreme music. I like the shittiest noise. I like graphic, horrible gore from the fucking 80s and 90s. I have my taste too, but talking to strangers and finding out, like, oh no, whatever you're into is cool, dude. Let's just fucking have a good time and enjoy the weekend. every band got treated like family, man. And that's the same shit I see at RPM, and it's truly inspiring.
Yeah, we've been keeping in touch. We actually gave our fans to our ladies over there serving us beer.
Hell
with
yeah.
The Miller's Rod and Gun Club, and they even say it's their favorite event of the year. Out of all the events that happen, everyone that comes in here is the nicest. You know, they're the kindest, so respectful.
Yeah.
You know, and it's such a cliche, right? To be able to look at Metalhead, tattoos and all, crazy gear, looking wild, and have that person genuinely be the kindest person you've ever met. In a lot of ways. The most accepting of all.
You talk about RPM Fest like this is their fest of the year. Like, I'm coming from Canada, from Quebec. And we have a couple of bands. We have a big scene, metal scene, punk scene in Quebec, and we have a lot of shows. We have like a shit ton of festival, but my favorite festival so far is still RPM Fest, and it's not even my own country. And like, I'm always excited to come here. Like, it's my second time in 2 years, and honestly, I'm fucking happy to be here.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that you weren't a local. That's fucking great. So you come down just for this?
Exactly.
That's fucking amazing, man.
We actually met through another podcast called VOX&HOPS. Matt McGackie of Cryptopsy did this thing called Thirsty Thursdays, where he hosted Zoom calls during the pandemic as a way to connect everybody, and that's how we met. We started our podcast based on some needs that Matt had.
That's brilliant.
And we've sort of built
I just played with Cryptopsy with my band Propagate the Rot like 2 or 3 months ago in Richland. And those guys, they've been inspiring forever. And I remember like the early, I'm going to butcher it. It's the Forgotten King, the Cryptopsy album that everybody was like, what is this clean vocal shit? Fuck, I hate life. And now I listen back to it and I'm like, is that the sickest Cryptopsy album, dude? That fucking, everybody has their preference, and Cryptopsy's always been a fantastic band that I've been on the fence with vocals of, but at the same time, dude, that Matt McGachy guy has come in, and he is the sickest vocalist I think I've ever fucking seen, dude.
You want to laugh? A lot of people are saying Non-Solvat is their favorite. A lot of people are saying Whisper Supremacy is my favorite. My favorite, to me, is the self-titled.
Dude, I'm telling you, fucking goddamn it. It's 11th or 12th track. I'm always really bad with track names.
Yeah.
But the one where Flo does the sickest shit I've ever heard drummed in my life, where I've tried to break it down as a drummer, and I have no fucking idea what he's doing. I'm like trying to count, and they do a weird, like, I don't know if it's beat like whatever they're doing, but I'm a big fan of, and I meant to tell you this. Your music community, by the way, is French Canadians.
Yeah.
Y'all motherfuckers are just the best in the world. No, seriously, dude. Okay, we're talking about fucking, is it Cleansing the Hosts? I think it might be Cleansing the Hosts, but I don't feel like that's right. I'll share you guys the title in a while when we're all friends on Facebook and I'm in some group chat just being like, holy shit. But there's that part in that song that made me be like, wanting to shout it out live and everything, fucking playing with the guys. But again, so Augury, Cryptopsy, dude, I'm a big old OG Covatus fan. Like anything that Dominic Leponte Forrest that dude has done, it's like he lends himself to projects just to be like, here's a little bit of interest since nobody knows you. Peace, I'm out. I'm going back to Augury. I'm going to do all this other shit.
Dominic is like the man.
The fucking
and
man.
And also, funny enough, he's not the one that starts the band.
Yeah.
Like, he's just in the band. Like, he was in Beyond Creation.
Yep.
Now he's in First Fragment. He also played in a Quebec band called Barf.
Barf, yep, absolutely.
Barf is so good.
Shout out Atramentus.
Yeah, dude, fucking
Atramentus is another guy called Phil Tuga. Phil Tuga is like the man because he's playing in Atramentus, playing in First Fragment, also in America with the band Worm.
Yeah.
This guy is fucking
literally
everywhere.
is the modern day when everybody's like Satriani and By, and you name drop a guitar player. If you ain't not name dropping that dude, you're a fucking idiot, dude. Like so goddamn amazing.
Okay, so
Phil Tuga, Oli Pinar from
Oh God,
Cattle
dude, he's the reason I like.
Cryptopsy.
Dude, no, seriously, he is so brilliant that I wanted to just run up on stage and be like, just put your gear down and run back to Neuraxis. Dude, I love Neuraxis so. Oh my God, dude.
Okay, I have to tell you something. I have a story about Oli Pinar. Okay, so when I was younger, because I'm 28, there's a series in Quebec called Rock and Road. So it was like a series that they were just taking musicians and they were doing like rock stuff. And during the series, there's a band, some 4 bands were formed. And every episode, there's a challenger coming. So if, for example, this is now the elimination of the bass. So the bass that is not making good that day, well, is going to elimination, and the challenger is going to challenge the guy that is like on the edge of being eliminated.
Yeah.
Oli Pinar was one of those. He was 18.
No shit.
He played fucking augury in front of like the Quebec rock people.
Yeah.
And the Quebec rock people were not impressed. They were like,
oh, yes, dude. No, I followed. So I stalk musicians, and he's one I followed for years.
And funny enough, I was so young
He's now in
that
one
I
of the,
didn't understand.
Probably the two biggest
And
bands
I didn't
between
understood
Cattle
what
Decap
he-
and now Cryptopsy.
And I didn't
Guys kills
understood what he did. And funny enough, I really I received a guy like a couple of years later, and he talks about this rock and roll thing. And I'm just laughing to myself. I'm like, I was so dumb. It was so good what he did back then.
Hey, I mean, big shout out to Flo. Imagine being so good at your craft that you basically create tech death.
No, legitimately. Dude, there's some other contenders, but everybody knows it. And if they act like they don't, it's not good. I would never say Cryptopsy's my favorite band, but to cite them as anything less than one of the most innovative, consistently pushing and changing and creating. That's one of the things that pisses me off about tech death, is that so much of it is a single brilliant Mohammed status writer where he's just like, yo, bitches, play my shit. But to watch those guys who grow as musicians and talking about Cryptopsy self-titled, to watch those guys come into form together, and you're like, this is on par with everything they've ever fucking done, but still pushing the envelope to the point that you're just like, I don't care if your deathcore band goes 340, bitches. Listen to some fucking riffs. Like, I love music as much as I love metal, and watching those musicians, especially the ones that were so technically proficient in fucking the 90s, still pushing that extreme shit. Dude, Flo's one of the reasons I started drumming, and to get to go years later and have to drum in front of the guy, and I'm so glad that I'm so glad that they're
and then
just
he sits there with his Miller Lite and he just what?
No, I'm just like, no, I was super stoked that it was just busy enough. They might have been there for part of it. He's like, I'm going back to the tour bus. I'm like, thank you very much for that, man. Like, fucking Lord. But to do all that, it means so much to me as a performer, to not just play with the big names, but to kind of come like feel like it's a full circle thing, to feel like you've grown and your appreciation for something has grown so much because you didn't stop. You didn't turn around when you were fucking having a hard time. And that's to come back to point with big feelings. That's a lot of it. Yeah. That is a lot of it. Is like all of us struggle, and all of us have a lot in our day-to-day life that we're not necessarily conditioned to deal with, and we're not also responsible for. Like you don't get to choose when you lose a pet. We had the day we got here, my partner gets a call that our favorite cat got hit in the road from one of our kids, and I mean, those are the things that you're gonna happen in life, and you can't stop them. So learning how to have a network and a community that supports you through the struggles makes it so at the end of all of that, you get to take a moment of that and step back and say, as brief as that moment was, that was fucking beautiful to experience, and not just feel like everything's over, because life's going to go on without you or not, and it's a fucking miserable experience, but it is a brilliant, unbelievably beautiful experience.
I always like to think that life is not about beginnings, but it's about endings.
Yeah, that's...
That's kind of where, if you think about it, that's where a lot of things end up happening. But Solomon, one last final question for you. being as you have attended RPM Fest all this weekend. What was your favorite part? Favorite band? Favorite vendor? You could even say favorite food.
I'll give it. So my favorite part was realizing that Sia and Boozer and the people that I had met that came out to my event were speaking from the heart and were 100% serious. It felt like I'm right back home, like a fucking world away. And with the community structure, the love, the respect and passion that we all share, I didn't feel awkward one fucking second, man. I felt nothing but this passion for the fucking event and the what you guys got going on here. But if I had to name drop Goblin Hovel, Scapel, and I know I'm gonna forget the third one. Oh my God. Maidenhead was actually fantastic, but no, Witching blew my fucking gourd, dude. No, dude, to listen to it, and as took me years to get into black metal, I'm still very particular, and it's one of those things. You hear Demu before you hear the mayhem, and then you're like, what is this shit? No, where's the part that's pretty and so I found out about bands like Obtained Enslavement and the more symphonic aspects of black metal got me into that. But when you watch somebody that takes the power and intensity of black metal, the heaviness and emotion of doom and that feeling where you're like, this is almost death doom, and then out of fucking nowhere you have these guitar hooks that you're like, this is like At the Gates or weirdly no, it's even like the metalcore that people hate on metalcore, and I love this shit, but bands like Conducting from the Grave that had guitar that I'm like, these harmonized guitars, these are literally like everything my ear wants to hear and ropes you in. Yeah, dude, they fucking Witching blew my goddamn mind. But this whole weekend has been just amazing meeting you guys.
Awesome.
It makes me miss the fucking East Coast and guarantee I'm coming back here a lot sooner than 20 years like the last time.
Well, I hope to see Big Feelings as a sponsor and have a credible booth and all that. I would love to see that. I think that it's a great thing, and it would fit exactly right in
we would
here.
love to, and we plan on it, man.
Awesome. Solomon, thank you, man.
Yeah,
thank
absolutely.
You for your time.
Pleasure, guys.
Thank
Pleasure.
you for all your
Thank you so
efforts.
much.
It's so appreciated in the community.
Thank you so much, guys. You guys fucking rule.
Thank you. All right, guys, we are continuing our RPM Fest vendor interviews. We have Morgan from Sector 4 Studios. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. You've been pretty busy over there. You got some really cool stuff.
Yeah, this is a good venue for what I do.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what it is exactly that you have for available at RPM.
I make higher-end Halloween masks. They're also used for cosplay sometimes, and I really like to work with bands to make custom faces for them.
Ooh. Did you see Castle Rat had a lot of costumes?
Castle Rat was so good, and I ended up actually giving them one of our masks.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I've seen your mask. One of the security guys has been driving around with it. Looks very intimidating, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's really unique what you do. I saw that you were sculpting out of, is it clay?
Yeah, it's a polymer clay, so it's non-hardening, and you have to mold it and then create hard copies from that.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I also do some 3D work, so I can do 3D printing as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just started doing that, so
all right.
It's going to be a new branch into what I'm capable of making. It's removing a lot of restrictions.
That's awesome. How did you get involved with making the clay mask and doing your art?
So I was sort of born in the mud. My dad is a potter by trade, and I grew up in a nonprofit art studio, so there was a lot of collective art being done. We all were able to see different mediums, and I was just born into that. I ended up going to a special effects school, which I wouldn't recommend, and decided that I wanted to do my own thing.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, years of being exploited in the service industry really made me feel the need to control what's coming in, even if it's not as consistent. I'm at least getting paid for the work that I do.
Absolutely. Is there a goal for your art as far as like you talk about how you create masks for bands, things like that? Would you love to see your masks in, say, like a horror film, or say, I don't know, another band on stage, or just a festival in general?
I wouldn't mind seeing my work in horror films. There have been a couple like indie projects, and there's some other projects that are looking into having my work. But what I really like is when an individual or a band per se has an idea that they want to bring to life.
Yeah.
And they want to create a face or an image or a perception of themselves, and I can help build that goal for them and elevate them to where they want to be.
Do you get a lot of people that want to do like Comic-Con costumes and like the real like a lot of those people tend to do it themselves, but have you ever had them?
I've had people ask me, but I really try to stay away from work that's already been done.
Gotcha.
I like to create new and unique things, either from my mind or, like I said, taking the seed of somebody's dream and helping them grow that into a tree.
Awesome. What is some of the things that you love about making the mask, pottery in general, just your arts all around? What is it that always gives you that special feeling?
With sculpture, it's a building process, and you get to really feel the tactile nature of clay. You get to change the way that light hits, and it's just about you're sort of forming a new reality.
Yeah.
And that's why I really like working with other people too, because it's not just what I want to build. I want to help other people get to where they want to be.
Yeah. It's really cool. I think what you do is really awesome, and it's very unique. Talking to like Scraps next to you, talking to Lewis over here, even talking to Carl. All of you guys have a special trait that is basically sort of unique to yourselves, but also unique to the world, and you don't necessarily see it anymore.
Yeah.
It's definitely. How do you feel about pottery as a trade in general? Is it feeling the effects?
The pottery aspect, like what my dad does, is definitely feeling the effects of mass production in general, and it's kind of sad, but at the same time, like a bowl's a bowl. Part of the thing that my dad does, and the reason why he loves it, is because making a bowl or a cup is an essential part of nourishing your community.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that you eat out of every single day, and it's nice to have a human touch there.
Yeah.
And I think with any of these industries, keeping that human touch, the connection between people, is really key in it.
That's awesome. As far as community goes, you can't get any better than RPM Fest. How have you been enjoying RPM so
I
far?
love RPM Fest. It feels like home every time I've been here.
Yeah.
It feels safe. It feels fun. It's just great. And like, I get to sit and sculpt all day while listening to bands I love, with people around me that all have similar ideas.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff coming up. Obviously, Conforza just wrapped up. Misery Index is the headliner. They're going to be coming on pretty soon.
Yeah.
Goblet's actually going to be closing out the Wicked Rowan other stage over there. We have, there's going to be a horror movie showing over here.
Oh, sick.
So actually,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I'll have to check that out.
There's a production company over here, Xposse Productions, with Gino and Matt.
Xposse.
Xposse.
Yeah. Xposse Productions.
You want to talk about Matt directs and or Gino directs and Matt produces a lot of really cool horror stuff. So, for someone who's got the talents and skills that you have, I'm sure they would love to talk to somebody like you going forward.
Yeah, I'll definitely check them out. I like smaller projects. That's the thing about the film industry that I never wanted to get into, was a lot of it is still very exploitative, but when you're working with smaller groups, like, you might not get paid as much, but you're working on like a real vision.
Yeah.
Like somebody's idea.
A real appreciation that
Yeah.
comes with it there. Yes, absolutely. Are you a big metal fan?
I am a much bigger metal fan when I'm at metal shows.
Gotcha.
Like, it's the community, it's live music, it's that feeling that you get
Yeah.
that it's hard to replicate. Like, I'll
Mhm.
put it on sometimes in the shop,
Yeah.
but my favorite place to listen is live with the community
Mhm.
that follows.
Yeah, I mean, has there been a band that has sort of like stuck out to you? I mean, you're
Goblin
right here.
Hovel was so sick.
Goblin
I
Hovel.
love Goblin Hovel.
Yeah, we actually just talked to Robert today.
They're so cool.
Yeah, how awesome was it that they got to the moshing
honestly, it was
goblins?
so
Did you
good.
see that?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
It's like
unrelated.
it wasn't playing.
Yeah.
It wasn't playing. And like, oh, Goblin. Oh, there's Goblin coming to Goblin Hovel.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh my
I ran
God.
into those goblins. They're definitely my people.
Oh yes, no, and they did. They looked so good too.
Let's hope that there's no Goblin Slayer coming to slay those goblins.
Well, Robert was telling us that they built a log cabin in the woods.
Typical goblin behavior.
Really sticking true to the goblin lore. I love it.
Wow, it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's go
it's been
Goblins.
it's been fantastic. Has there been another vendor that have you been around seeing the other
I've been
vendors?
around, yeah.
Is there any other vendor that you really enjoyed seeing?
I mean, obviously, the leathers with Pixie.
Yep.
They're great. I like most of the vendors. Scraps is right next to me doing excellent work. I forget what her name is, who's just came in today.
Arsenia.
Oh, yeah, them as well.
Arsenia. Who just came today?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Insert name here.
Yeah.
And I think Eliza is her name.
Eliza.
From Wiccan Ronin, who sponsored
Yep.
the stage over there.
Yep.
Just a wonderful person. And they're
Absolutely.
doing some really cool sculptural work too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's fantastic. Well, Morgan, we're gonna let you get back to it. Keep enjoying the festival, and keep selling your craft. Man, I really enjoy. I'm a plumber, another tradesman. So I really enjoy people like our age, really just
Yeah.
continuing in something that has to do with our hands that necessarily isn't something you have to go to college for, that you can really attach onto and teach and keep going for generations. Because as you say with your dad, it's a skill and it's a product that's an everyday thing.
And it
that you
affects
need.
everyone around you.
Absolutely.
In some way.
Absolutely. Well, hey, thank you very much, Morgan. We
Thank you as
appreciate
well.
it.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, we are continuing our RPM Fest interviews. We actually have a organizer with us today, someone who has actually helped us out a lot because when we got here yesterday, we were set up in front of the wrestling tent.
I mean, I like your tan, but it's a tan, not a sunburn, thanks to me.
Yeah, exactly. We were able to, Hope was able to hook us up here with an awesome tent in a nice location right in her artist alley.
Yeah.
So a huge shout out to Hope of RPM Fest and Leather Pixie. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. I'm really glad y'all are here. We love podcasts.
Yeah.
We tried to do our own podcast like during the fest too, but then it just got to be too much.
No, I
so
bet.
it's
I
all
bet.
awesome when we have other people that can kind of yeah.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. Thank you for having us. Yeah, it has been an absolute pleasure. I mean, I remember when we first came here 2 years ago, and we interviewed Brian and just talked about RPM in that aspect, and it was really like our first time.
It is his baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, how did you get involved with RPM Fest?
My ex-boyfriend was filled in for like 3 of the bands that played the original RPM, the first one that was like invite only and just friends of the bands and stuff.
Yep.
And they were fundraising, and I was like, hey, if I kick you a couple $100, can I set up my leather work and vend? And they were like, hell yeah, because I was going to go anyway.
Yeah.
And so it was me set up right next to Goblet. I can't remember the band that was on the other side. They were cool too, but it was all band merch.
Yeah.
And then like me in the middle. I was the only vendor. And I just kind of like, and then the next year, because he's a really good bassist, filled in and with different, and it was just kind of like our thing. And then I just started vending it every year, still being like mainly the only vendor, and then inviting my friends that made stuff. And I was like, hey, you like metal? Come hang out in some metal in Western Mass. It's really freaking fun. And then we moved here. And I was like, do you need a vendor lead? Because, like, I feel like there's enough vendors here that somebody should be directing people.
Yeah.
And then I kind of, like, took on that role. And then the, like, art stuff. And I was like, hey, I got a lot of friends that are artists. Like, can I do some art stuff? And then the person that was trying to do the art things was just, like, plate full, you know? Like, trying to juggle all the roles. And I was like, well, let me do the art stuff. And then I got some fire sculpturists last year from a workshop out in Worcester. Ooh. And then after they saw the fire sculptures, they're like, can you just be the arts and entertainment lead now? And also got like dancers and other stuff because I'm a performer too.
I saw the dancers over here by the main stage. Was that you were doing? Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There would have been more, but the rain kind of messed with us a little bit. They were going to do a quick fire spin between Bongzilla and Prong for people walking by to Prong, which was exactly when the rain went.
Yep.
Like, we were literally ready with the fire blankets. I was going to do fire safety because I've been trained on it.
Yep.
They grabbed their stuff, walked out to go dip the wicks.
And it rained.
And it rained as soon as they put the bucket down to where they were.
No.
And we had this like brief 15-minute window.
Yeah.
They were going to do like a quick burn, like, you know, because if you don't soak the wick too much, you can like kind of time it and do like a short, right? It was just like, how is this even happening? And then it rained so much that like the stage sides were too wet, so we just kind of had to, for safety, have them not do it. But normally there would have been like a dancer on either side for certain songs that Prong was like, have them do these songs and stuff. But yeah, we like doing a lot of weird side entertainment. Like, I don't know what metalhead isn't ADD. That's kind of like goes with the territory of being able to process that many levels of sound sometimes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Obviously there's other different types of music that have that too, but like it's, you know.
Goes hand
So
in hand.
we are just a collective of nerds that have been gradually like throwing down more cool shit to have at this party and inviting more friends.
Yeah.
And building and just like creating this big like neighborhood family that like,
How many festivals can you say you go to and you have somebody like Scraps doing blacksmithing on site? Like, some pretty incredible stuff. That you guys.
Well, thank you, because I booked and drove that friend here.
Yeah.
I borrowed my brother-in-law's van specifically to have room to bring that friend here for that purpose. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, we've actually talked to just about every vendor on this row. And we've started dabbling over there. Unfortunately, we're not able to talk to everybody.
Oh, there's a lot of vendors this year. We actually maxed out on vendors for the first time ever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which
that
is
like,
awesome. Been my goal, and I've been trying. And I am a leather crafter, and I vend a lot of events. So, I hunt for you, makers, find me. But so I always have flyers on me like year round, doesn't matter. I'll do something next week and I'll start advertising to vendors.
Yeah.
If I see somebody that I think will be a good fit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I help run this fest. It's really cool. Like, it may not be the like 1 million people, you're gonna make a ton of money, but you're guaranteed to have a really good time. We have affordable prices. Like, we're not trying to rip people off. We just want to have cool, creative, fun folks come and be able to party with us. So like, and then they check it out, and probably like 3/4 of the vendors over there, I personally handed a flyer to and was like, hey, I think your work is really cool. Like, come apply to this thing.
That's
you know?
awesome.
And then others that like found us through friends and other stuff, which is cool. And I'm like, I love it when I'm like, yes, it's not only me sending more art here and like make more art, you know? So, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Leather Pixie, your baby, and leatherworking. How did you get started in leatherworking? What was the inspiration?
I dropped out of photography school, moved back home to the Cape, and got a job at a leather shop. And like the Cape's like very summer, you know, like touristy. So I ended up the manager shortly after. He's a belt maker.
Okay.
And I'm from a rather dysfunctional, like, my parents kind of stopped parenting when I was a teenager.
Gotcha.
90s, kind of like free range kids. And he just kind of like ended up like my uncle, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I talk a lot about like how like queer families like my parents were still there.
Yeah.
They didn't like disown me when I came out as bi or any of that shit, but they weren't really parents.
Yeah.
So then you find these other people that kind of parent you and take care of you, mentors and shit.
Yeah.
So I've always just kind of liked crafting, and I really fell into leather crafting and kept it as a hobby for a while, and then just kind of like, yeah. So, and the name, I have the back piece tattoo. A buddy of mine that was doing this back piece was like, called me Leather Pixie once, and I was like, I really like that.
Yeah.
Feel like that should be my business name. So like the person who gave me my wings is actually who named me Leather Pixie, which is kind of a fun little like poetic like
It is, yeah.
It's beautiful. Which is like, but being an artist and being a supportive artist of others, even if they're like do stuff that you do, is kind of how you get to have those interactions.
Yeah.
You know, like not closing yourself off by thinking that you're having a competition with the person next to you. Because they're both creative, you
Absolutely.
know, like, and that's kind of the vibe of this fest and everybody here, which is I think why it has that different feeling, you know, where like I don't know, if I was like, hey, that person you just talked to is the person from this band, you're gonna be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
They were too shy to talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
I mean,
don't want to call him out on the podcast.
Well, I mean, we got the sign.
But like,
we got the sign, but like the verbiage is basically, we want to talk to anybody. We've actually had a few people that are just attendants that just came in and would talk to us.
Which
and
is
stuff
how
like
you
that, which is
do
cool.
when you're really trying to get the DL on a fest. You don't just talk to the organizers.
Oh yeah, talk to everybody.
I mean, that's the thing. Is like, yes, we can talk to artists. Yes, we can talk to organizers. But also talking to people that pay their place and be like, yo, this is my art. This is what I do.
Yeah.
And we want to encourage all of this. We want to put them into the light.
Yeah.
And even though we maybe doesn't have all the following maybe we should have maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we want to show them, yo, you're important to us, and everyone should know you. Everyone.
Oh yeah, we have a really neat idea that we're gonna run by you after this off the record. We'll tell you about it.
Ooh, off the record, is it spicy?
Not exactly spicy, but it's.
You were scared. You're like, I don't want to get spicy with Pixie. I'm afraid.
We've asked a few people so far, and we've gotten some positive feedback. So I mean, we're gonna keep that in the back pocket there, but. To talk a little bit more about the leatherworking, what is some of the more difficult leatherworking pieces that you've ever done?
Like the harness builds are pretty tough sometimes, depending on like, you know, in the beginning I'm a lot better at them now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing it for like 25 years.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't have difficulty anymore, or like sewing. I'm trying to like get into sewing and fashion. And possibly shoemaking. I've taken shoemaking classes. That was tough. That was hard as hell, but it was really cool. And it was like the dude was about to retire. He was like in his 80s.
Yeah.
And he had gone down to like 4 students. He used to do 12. And it was like a 6-month span between when I took the first class to the third class.
Yep.
And you could see his hands not working as well in that 6-month period, right? Like he was done, but loved teaching so much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and he found me me and my personality really special, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think that he's had very many queer students.
Okay.
And one of his like co-friend, old school shoemaker, had a non-binary child. I don't know if they were non-binary, but I like saw the stuff that they made, saw their photos. They're from the Bible Belt. And unfortunately didn't make it.
Yeah.
Like, and then that was like, and they were like, you remind me of this person that I thought of as a niece, and you know what I mean? And that they had recently lost too,
they made
right?
they made a connection.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and I was definitely way older than this young like queer, but like they were like the photos that I saw, I was like, that is a young queer.
Yeah.
That has like super churchy parents that might be afraid of who they are.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the parents are. I don't know if they're supportive of it, because you know, some people that are into church are totally cool and like they get it, because that's actually what they're supposed to do, is love everybody.
Exactly.
Because they read the words right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, not a lot of people are like that. So we are who we are, and that's why I'm their uncle. And I call myself Uncle Pixie at the fest. It's kind of like, you know, we have all these like newer artists like just starting out. There's 2 makers in the Artist Alley that their first time vending ever was at RPM last year.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
And I moved them to Artist Alley because I was like, well, come make stuff It's less expensive in Artist Alley. We really want, and you can see the stage, so you have like the inspiration of like you're part of the activity.
High
right?
traffic
like,
area.
Yeah, which is you said scraps down at the end, like that they're making stuff. Then I have them next to the Viking metal maker, which is super fun, right? Making the Viking jewelry.
Yep.
And yeah, I know. I went back to RPM
and Lewis with the masks.
Yep.
That's cool.
Morgan.
Yep. I'm sorry.
Morgan.
Yeah.
Is the mask
Did
maker.
Did I get his name wrong?
That's okay.
No, Lewis is the metal guy, like the
Lewis, the
silver
Viking,
guy.
the Viking metal guy. Yeah, that's
Gotcha.
Lewis.
Oh yeah, Lewis is okay.
Yeah. No, the mask
Sorry,
guy.
I'm awful with names. I'm better with faces. But a lot of it is just like I know.
I'm at the point in age that I'm not even embarrassed. I'm like I have almost no name recall.
Yeah.
And it gets worse the older I get. So I just warn people.
Yeah.
I'm like, nice to meet you. I like your name. I'm probably gonna forget that. Like,
Yeah.
Nothing against you. It's just that like the recall part of my brain has been damaged. I don't know.
I mean, funny enough, I'm
But
good
you meet
with names.
so many people, and
Oh
it's just
my
like,
gosh.
yeah.
I'm good with names. I'm not good with faces sometimes.
It's a good problem,
Like
honestly.
the thing is like if I
I'm
see
an image,
faces,
I'm an image, not a letter. You're a letter, not
if
image.
I see
yeah,
faces
it's like,
multiple times, I'll be good with it.
Yeah.
Problem is like if I see a faces too long, sometimes I will think of the faces of someone else
And who they look like. I do that too. Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I even that makes that with my own parents. Sometimes I watch my mom.
Oh, and then
a
I
little
want
bit
their
too
name
long.
to be the name of the person they remind
Yeah.
me of.
And then she's making me like thinking of another person. I'm just like, no, that's my mom. But like that's the same thing. It's just like for me, it's names like okay, Evan, Dan earlier. I talked to Dan at like he was the first guy I talked today. And I didn't remember his face when we did the interview.
I thought the guys from Scapel was Goblet. I go, oh, Goblet's here. They go, no.
That's Scapel.
Oh, wait a minute.
This whole time, I just realized I still had my radio on. Why did I? Sorry, folks. Now you got to hear some inner workings of a festival through the radio. I don't think it picked it up that. I probably didn't pick it up that much.
All right, I got one last one for you. I know you're busy. You got a ton of stuff going on. A beautiful festival to run. Which one has been your favorite out of all of the RPMs so far?
The first one after the lockdown.
Yes.
Because we were finally home again.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
man.
together as like a family of crew that like
Yep.
puts this together. It was like, yeah.
It was my
That's
first
awesome.
one also. First one
nice.
I came.
The first one back was your first one, and that was like,
in fact, I just did the 2 last days and not all 3 days.
And then
So
you
in my
you
first
amended
one-
that the next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I've actually heard that a lot with folks that they're like, yeah, I just came for the one day, and like I'm definitely going to be back the whole like
Oh, yeah.
which is like.
Well, I
and
think
like
the camping-
volunteers, most of our volunteers come back and bring their friends the next year, which is
Mhm.
how we're able to keep growing.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to jump and grow beyond, right? We just we naturally kind of we all DIY put in this effort to bring a little bit more folks the next year. And it's been slowly, progressively growing in a way that we can control the chaos in a safe way, an inclusive way, and
Yes.
you know.
I think that it's really nice because the Miller Falls Rod and Gun Club, shout out to them. All those people love the festival.
Yeah.
Out
They
of
love
all-
us.
out of
We
all the
are
ones that
we
happen here.
are booked out until we tell them that we don't want to come here on Labor Day
Yeah.
weekend. They love us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's
Well, we
it's
also
incredible.
we've put a lot of money into the infrastructure here as we've grown as a festival
Yeah.
on our dime.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're good hosts and we need it, and they're like, yeah, if you want to throw some stuff down, they're okay with it too, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool. But then they can also use it. They just had another festival recently be able to rent out because they had a better electric capacity.
Yeah.
Because we installed to help our festival.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a helping,
Yeah.
it's a symbiotic relationship.
Mhm.
We're okay in the showers. The other festival was able to use those. We built those. Those are our showers, but they're not our showers. They're the gun club showers because we built them so we could use them when we're here, right?
Yeah.
So, but Western Mass is kind of that vibe anyway. So if you're not from here and
Help
you're
your
like, oh
neighbor.
wow, but out here it's just kind of I don't know.
Yeah.
Like we're driving last day thing, just Western Mass. I live out in the Boston area. I'm from the Cape. Very touristy. It's different. My partner, we're driving through probably Shelburne, Greenfield. I don't know. After his first RPM, staying at our friend's house, and he's like, loves it out here. It's so cool. And I'm like, I want to move out here. I want to move out here. He's like, all right. this place is so great. He's like, if that person that we're about to drive by waves, that's it.
Yeah.
We're fucking moving down here. And I was like, they're gonna wave.
Oh yeah.
And yes, they waved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, but like, you drive around the Cape, you drive in the city, like that's not.
No.
It was like we didn't know them. We were visiting our friend at the top of the mountain. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't. They're just like, oh, there's a car going by. How's it going? Like,
Oh,
you know.
I'm used to it. I live in Winchendon and small town stuff out
Yeah.
here. It's an entirely. We've talked about it on our drive up.
Yeah.
It's an entirely different vibe.
Yeah.
Once you get out of the Boston area, the saturation of the city, you
Yeah.
come out here. It's just you help everybody out, you know. And it's
Yep.
RPM Fest has always been, as far as I said, it's more of a community than a festival.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know?
it's basically like we still have the big backyard party vibe. There's it's like you go, oh, you're going to go inside for the video games over in the pavilion. You got
Yeah.
the video game lounge. And now the new Grimace tent.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like, so then you get like the pool basement hangout.
The amount of pictures.
With the like, that was new this year.
Yeah.
When he proposed that, I was like, that sounds really cool. And he was like, what space? He's like, if you give me a tent to work under.
Yeah.
That's a 20 by 20. I will do some cool basement stoner basement hangout vibes.
Wow.
Nice.
Can you help me get couches? And we were like, I don't know if we can help you get couches. He's like, whatever, I'll get the couch. Like that was all him.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and a lot of the projects are that. Like a lot of our sponsors are actually people that just put together this effort to make all these things happen. And then instead of charging them to vend or charging them to be here, they do these projects with us, and then they come set up and sell their merch or do whatever.
Yep.
And that's just kind of how we've grown. It's like, oh, you want to come do your art stuff here too? Cool, let's do it.
Beautiful.
Like,
I love it. I love every bit about it. Well, Hope, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank
this
you.
This has been a fantastic.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy the rest of the festival, as I know we are.
all right. Well, I look forward to seeing you again here next year.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are continuing our RPM Fest interviews, and right now with us on the final day here on Sunday, closing it out, we have Brian, the driving force behind RPM Fest. One of.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I obviously I have to before I even take credit for that. We have an amazing team of staff, volunteers. I can't single-handedly take credit for being the driving force behind it, but there are so many people behind the scenes that make this festival happen. I am so thankful for every single one of them, and I love them all, and they're just part of this amazing big family that we have. So
yeah, we appreciate you having us out. I mean, we've been able to talk to all these vendors, lots of bands. We talked to a couple of people attending. We just talked to Hope.
Yeah.
We actually talked to this guy, Solomon, and Hope will tell you about him, but he has a really good thing going on with Big Feelings. They do their own little festival out there in Montana.
I saw some of the flyers. Yes.
It's right in the vein of what we got going on here at RPM.
Love it.
But another great festival. We still have many more things to come. How have you felt about it so far?
Oh, it's been absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I mean, from a behind-the-scenes standpoint, you know, there's always little things we can improve on and work on, but honestly, this festival has pretty much gone out without a hitch. No major malfunctions, no panic attacks, just smooth sailing. The show's been running on time for the most part, and yeah, we're all really happy with how everything's been going.
That's awesome.
It's feeling really good.
Very awesome.
What has been your favorite thing about RPM Festival? Has it been either a band? Has it been a show? Has it been the food?
Man, I can't like single out one thing. Honestly, like the thing that this fest does for me, and I think that we place the importance on above all else, is the community aspect of it. Just everybody here has been either in a band, following our bands. Just it's. You see the same people at the same shows every year. That family grows a little bit bigger. We, welcome new people into the fold all around, and it's just having all the people that we love in one place at the same time. There's nothing that can top that for me.
Yes, this is. It's awesome. This whole thing, the community, getting everybody together, the difference in lineup. Shout out to Promoter Head. Seriously.
John Gulo and the rest of the Promoter Head team, again, like the other driving force behind this festival by far.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, absolutely. Even just having the live wrestling, the kaiju.
Oh,
did
man.
you catch a little bit of that?
I got to see a good chunk of kaiju last night, and grew up knowing about kaiju, had never had the chance to see it. Absolutely hilarious. Just really, a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Shout out Campbell's Soup,
Yeah.
which we figured out is not Canadian, right?
Not Canadian?
Because the thing is, like, there's a lot of Campbell's Soup in Canada, and I was like, is it Canadian? And then I found out it's New Jersey. And I'm like, why?
That's like, New Jersey's like the opposite of Canada.
So there's another story about, like, so I thought Campbell's Soup was Canadian. It's not. Well, Boston pizza. We are in around Boston, more in West Mass, but Boston pizza is not even American.
Really? Is it Canadian?
It's Alberta.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, my
The Texas of Canada.
Oh, my gosh. Next thing you know, he's going to tell me burgers are Russian.
Oh, man.
Well, maybe they are.
So, Four Phantoms is a big sponsor here.
Oh, my God.
We love Drew Phillips. I've always have.
He's the man.
I mean,
Drew, we love
man.
Drew, yeah. And Drew, I think Drew initially connected us about the whole everything.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
What an absolute sweetheart. That guy, Drew's been, obviously the main sponsor of the fest. Just a wonderful person. We do the ticket launch at the brewery every year. I can't thank him enough for his support over the years, and we love what he does, and his beer is fucking phenomenal. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah. My God.
Oh yes. Tell us a little bit about the decision between going to 2 stages as opposed to 3.
Oh man, yeah. From a organizational and scheduling perspective, and a just like fest flow aspect. So we initially did a 3rd stage under the pavilion here. Just the way things worked out, we decided that 2 stages alternating turned out to give more attention to a individual band at one time rather than having bands overlap. It also opened up the pavilion for us to do band merch under. Since the bands don't really want to sell merch while there's music blasting at them.
Yep.
Having a little quieter, calm place makes that a lot better. And then also the ability to do activities under the pavilion.
Yeah.
So like in the morning we can do drag bingo. We did the heavy metal trivia last night.
Yeah.
We did the D&D, the Dice Battle League Saturday morning.
That dice battle was awesome. We talked to Brett about that, and that's really cool how he does it.
Yeah. I love when people come to us with an idea that they want to pitch. Like that was something that Brett had pitched to me like months and months ago, and like I'm a huge fucking nerd. I love any tabletop games, video games, and like being able to make a custom like quick version of D&D where people can jump in and just get to a fight. He had so many little Easter eggs and hidden things planned. He made individual weapons named after like every band on the festival this year.
And then somebody had to fight Bongzilla.
Yeah, Bongzilla got some, and they had to fight him. But basically, having the pavilion open up to do those sorts of things lets us do like a new creative side to the festival and do more than just band. Frankly, like people get a little tired. People's attention spans sometimes. We need a place for them to chill, relax, do something a little bit different. Having the lounge all day for charging phones and stuff. It just makes sense as a central hub of the fest.
Oh yeah.
So that's all those things combined. I think we kind of figured out that route for the pavilion in years past, and we've just been running with that since. And I think it's here to stay for sure.
RPM Fest has been going on 10 years strong now. What has been one of the biggest improvements or additions that you've done to RPM in these last 10 years?
Straight up, honestly, the first 3 years were at my parents' property in Greenfield. We had to move after that due to neighbors, and we were going to outgrow that site immediately that year anyway. Kind of a blessing in disguise that we took a year off to regroup and move here. Just a lot. It's a lot of the organizational things that we've really streamlined on, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. Just being able to basically hit go at some point, and a lot of the stuff is just in place, ready to roll. Like the band booking, the vendor booking. Like, there's a lot of stuff we do behind the scenes on, like, all of our organizational platforms online that just streamlines that stuff.
Yeah.
So just in general, it's just years of experience and figuring out what clicks, what doesn't. Like I said, figuring out that the pavilion's not a good stage. That's a great hangout spot.
Yep.
Just the small little improvements year after year. I think that's, maybe that's a cop-out answer for one big thing, but it's a number of small little
10
things.
years strong, you probably got a lot of improvements that have been made.
God.
You know what
I
I mean?
the first couple of years were very much a DIY. Like, we're just going to invite a bunch of people to my house and see what happens. Good luck.
Yeah.
And now it's I think once we moved here, it was like the first year here at the Rod and Gun Club was a little bit of an experiment, and then 2019 was like, okay, that was like the transition to this is a real festival.
Yeah.
That's we hit that for whatever reason that year was like, okay, this is how we do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that year was a big turning point for some reason. And then COVID the year after, so it fucking wiped all that out. But
Well, you bounced back very well and have kept things going, and that's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about Lich King. You're the drummer for Lich King. How are things on that front?
Oh, they're great. They're on tour right now.
And are you going to join them?
I am joining that tour about halfway through September.
Yeah.
So that tour was originally supposed to be in March. We all signed on to it. The tour got pushed to September to line up with the fest that they just played.
Yeah.
At that point, I had already booked about 3 weeks straight of work. I go right from RPM to a county fair that I do sound for.
Yep.
And then my other band, Power Up, plays a fest in Virginia the week after that.
Shit.
And then
Shout out Power Up. We had another
Shout
one.
out Power Up.
Yeah, Brian. We talked to Brian today, one of the volunteers.
Oh,
his cousin's in Power
Yes,
Up.
his cousin, Justin, is our vocalist.
Yep.
So I basically had already booked out like 3 straight weeks of work after RPM Fest. September's a real busy season for me, so
Absolutely.
Unfortunately I gotta miss the first half of the tour, but I will be joining up in Nashville onwards and finishing out that tour.
Are you going to the Quebec City show?
Sorry?
The Quebec City show of Lich King.
Yes, I will be there for that one. Yep.
I'll be here.
I'll be there for all the candidates I'm doing.
I'll be here too.
Awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
Love that.
Awesome, Brian. Well, hey, listen, we appreciate you guys having us. This is a true
Absolutely.
blessing. We look forward to coming back next year and just, keeping the whole thing going and being a part of RPM for many years to come.
Awesome.
This is definitely talking to a lot of people. This is their favorite festival as far as across the board. Community, the games, the entertainment, the bands, the people. Miller's Rod and Gun is awesome. They love this festival. I mean, you can't ask for anything more.
Absolutely, yeah. And like I said, thank you guys. Love having you here. I'm glad you're here doing this. Please come back every year, and we'll keep making it happen.
You got it. Oh, we got an idea. We got to run by you real quick before you go. But,
well, a couple of ideas, but
hit me more. Hit me with it.
You got it. Awesome. Well, hey, great to talk to you. Thank
Appreciate
you very much.
you guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Well, this RPM Fest 2024 journey came to an end. If you haven't guessed, I'm in the comfort of my home making those outros because we forgot something. We did the intros of each episode. We forgot the outros. It sucks. But hey, it happens. So, this is the end of the RPM Fest 2024 episodes. There will be a little surprise coming on the YouTube channel. I hope you will get it. I hope you will check it out. I won't say what it is because it's a surprise. So check out the YouTube channel for that. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Whispers from the Void podcast. Cheers.